And anybody, welcome back to another playthrough of Persona 4 Arena live and exclusive to YouTube. I am your host Bushbone for the remainder of the evening. For those of you who have never been here before to this channel, this is all about playing games blind, getting some live reactions, telling plenty of bad jokes and getting all kinds of reactions going in the chat box that way. So if you have any questions or anything you want to get in there, do what you can to get them in. I'll do what I can to go through them for you all. And for those of you who have been here before and you've been for likes of Persona 4 Arena, maybe you're here for Persona 5 Royal or the other Persona games we've played, or the Dangled Ramper. Maybe you hear the Song of Memories and Doki Doki Literature Club. Perhaps you joined us for the hilariously old school and very cool Jack Frost Pyro Jack game, Shin Megami Tensei Synchronicity Prologue. Or maybe you were even here way back in the day when we did Final Fantasy VII and Forza 4. Either way, a huge welcome back, because without all you people in the audience, this channel would be active, but it will not be anywhere near as interactive or as reactive. So one more time, you got the chat box that way. You got any questions, feel free to get in there. I'll do what I can to get accordingly. Now, previously so far on the stream, we've done the main investigation team for Persona 4, and we've also gone through as quite a lot of people's favourite robot waifu, Aegis, or you people who are wrong, because Metis is better than Aegis. What we're going to do now is carry on with the rest of the Persona 3 cast, and well, I've been waiting for this. Yes, Akihiko Sanada, former member of SEAS who is close to Mitsuru, so still in college, his thirst for power led him around the world to train. Rush down the opponent with his quick fist and finish him with his persona Caesar.
I'll force my way through.
Do we start with a training montage?
I'm a long way from home.
Yeah, it certainly does look a long way from home. Is that meant to be kind of like New York kind of style, you know, with the back streets and all the girders? I should imagine a place in Manchester called Dale Street where they do a lot of filming pretending to be New York. Captain America was shot there. Ever since I left Japan, I've been constantly searching for a place to test my strength. Before I knew it, I'd wound up on the ass end of the globe. Oh, he's got edgy all of a sudden. He started saying arse under the globe and many other phrases like that, people. Yeah, Akihiko's gone edgy. As I walk down a dark alley, a dry wind blows. I can see people inside the buildings, but I don't sense any life here. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's anything close to safe, though. Well, it just shows that not everywhere in the world is affluent. I sense a hostile presence from somewhere. Glancing around, I see two thugs smirking at me with narrowed eyes. My gazes meet, and those thugs, a seedy-looking large man and a thin man, stand before me.
Yo, bro, haven't seen your mug around here. The lucky thing we noticed you. Come on, man, spare us some change.
Oh, they're gone with the, they tried to make it sound Mexican now with that kind of voice.
We just need a little, man. We'll double it in no time in that gambling den over there.
Gambling is a mug's game, kids. Stay away from it.
You're in my way. Move it.
Ah, yes, that's the echoes of Shinji when he was in the back alleys of Persona 3 in Tatsumi Port Island. Same thing happened with the punks there. They'd address him like that and he'd be like, "Get out of my way." The thugs are momentarily stunned by my answer, but their shock quickly dissolves into anger.
And we were being friendly. I should have pulled this on you at the start.
The large man's words produce a fusillade of spittle as he simultaneously whips out what he believes to be his trump card. It's a gun. He waves the muzzle in front of my face in a threatening manner.
A body like that and you gotta resort to a gun? Pathetic. To begin with, do I really look like I carry that much money on me?
Ain't you Japanese? Most Asians stupid enough to come waltz around here are loaded. Come on, give me everything you got, or it's gonna be your brains on the floor.
Nice way to... if anything, Akihiko doesn't necessarily look that Japanese. He looks a bit more European. The large man is quite short-tempered. I wonder if his mood swings are due to a lack of calcium in his diet. I guess you really don't get to choose what you eat when you live in a place like this. The large man apparently realizes he can simply take my cash when I'm dead, and his fat finger squeezes the trigger before I can reply. A gunshot rings out and sends a shockwave through the alley's dry air.
Son of a bitch!
The large man stands stupefied. He recollects himself and throws a few more rounds my way.
What the? What kind of hit him?
because I'm dodging his shots. Not the bullets. They obviously were fastened to the human body. When a slow man uses a gun, the problem is he has to point the gun where he wants to send the bullets, and I can see doing that. I'm just reading his gun's movement and getting out of his line of fire before he shoots. It's that simple. It's also fucking dangerous. You have no idea how accurate that gun is. If that barrel's not rifled, it'll skew right or left anyway. You also don't know what kind of shot he's got in there. If it's got some kind of canister shot, it's going to give a range area. Not quite as much as a shotgun, but Jesus, kids, don't take this as safety advice around guns. Someone pulls a gun, give them your cash. Trust me, it's not worth trying to be an action hero. I bet he thinks there's something wrong with the gun, and he's simply not aiming well. Some people. I think he's the bottom of the phrase, a big head and a little wit. He never realizes what's happening. I dodge his hail of bullets and quickly close the distance of my attempted murderer. I get a good look of his face contorting in fear and confusion.
Checkmate.
Oh, Joker, is that you? Checkmate. I strike once, bury my fist in his porcine gut. His body lifts off the ground for a brief moment before it collapses to the ground backwards. The massive impact lifts a cloud of dust, and the man doesn't stir from his place on the ground.
You should be more careful who you pick your fights with.
You bastard!
The fear man pulls something from his pocket. I hear the loud click of a switchblade being unfolded. He drops into a crouch, coiled and ready to strike.
At least you know the basics.
The reprobate extends his arm and thrusts the dully shining knife toward me in a telegraphed attack. I get inside his arm and swipe the attack angle of the blade out of the way with my right hand, and connect with my left hand underneath his jaw. Since he attacks in the most obvious fashion, I repel the attack with the most obvious counter. The uppercut lands flush, and the man is cast into the air as he utters an undignified scream.
I gotta hand it to you for not abandoning your pal.
Sheesh. I didn't come on a journey to waste my time getting scratched and don't even raise a good warm-up. And Avian jumping in the chat saying, only worked 4 days this week, felt like more. And how goes? Well, all goes fine so far, because I'm off for a week. Oh yeah! Freedom, baby! Although honestly, pretty much all the stuff I encountered so far in my training was a continuous morass of tedious quarrels. Now up ahead. Huh? I noticed that the dust from the fat man's landing has gotten on my cape and brushed it off. This is the only mark I took from the encounter. Bodily injuries will heal over time if they're left alone, but the same can't be said about one's clothing.
Damn, that was impressive stuff.
Someone speaks to me out of the blue. I glance over to see a man who looks like a bartender hesitantly emerge from a nearby bar. It seems he was watching the whole thing unfold.
What a fight! And against a man with a gun? Are you a ninja or something?
That's not important. Where are the police? I'd have thought all the gunfire would catch their attention.
Yep, I do feel very lucky indeed, Avian. As for my plans, mostly going to do quite a bit of gaming, got some videos I want to catch up on. I'm also going to do some long training. Because as I say, my next big holiday is in July when I've got 2 weeks off, so I'm just going to take it nice and easy this week. Because, well, it's what a long week's for. The bartender responds to my bewilderment by laughing in an even more dumbfounded manner and shrugs.
Things like that happen all the time. The only authority here is the cartel. Everyone who's not connected dies in poverty. That's been how it works for over 50 years.
You see.
Those who are not connected. Upon hearing that, a bitter feeling wells beside me. Everything in this world relies on connections, and connections are just another form of power. People say that what's most important can't be obtained by power, but I figure that means the other 99.9% of everything is simply a matter of power. That includes one's lifespan, and at times, the lifespan of those close to you as well. You say it's the best type of vacation, Avian. Do little, just relax. Well, that's the plan.
Hey, why not stop in for a drink? It's on the house. Seeing what you did made my day.
I'll only stop if you got protein. The bartender's cheerful voice snatched me out of my ruminations.
Are you sure? The cartel you mentioned might not like that.
Hey, I'll get off easy compared to you. All I did was offer you a drink, not beat the hell out of their goons.
A drink, huh?
Do you have the good stuff in stock?
Huh?
It's hard to obtain that certain something around here. I haven't had any for a couple days now. Actually, I'm starting to go into withdrawal.
What is it you're talking about, mister? Listen, I run a clean bar.
Here it comes.
Protein. I need a double shot of protein.
Told you. Rule number 1, protein. Rule number 2, more protein. Rule number 3, more protein.
Huh? Pro.
Make it quick. It's only half as effective 30 minutes after I burn some calories.
Sorry, I don't know that brand. Is that some kind of sake?
No. It's alright if you don't have any.
Sheesh, what am I thinking? You never know unless you try. It was pretty stupid to expect a bartender at a dive bar like this without protein drinks. I shake my head and collect myself. When I finally return to Japan, I'll have all the protein my muscle fibers are crying out for. Sounds great just thinking about it. Mountains of protein. Protein as far as the eye can see. But my daydreams of what a world of infinite protein would be like are interrupted. I take out my cell phone and see that I've received an email. There are 3 important things on the sub-display. The first thing is the icon that tells me that international roaming services and the fact, no kids, international roaming is a no-no. Make sure you turn that off. Second is the name, Kirijo. And the last thing is the word, urgent.
Looks like opportunity's knocking sooner than I expected.
I can't hide my smirk. The fact that the message is urgent means that I'm being summoned for a mission.
Fine with me. I haven't found any opponents worth my time here anyway.
Plus, the training journey I'm on was preparation for these missions. It was my way of showing that I would be suited for taking on these special missions professionally. It seems to me my plan is working, or this is fate telling me my time to display my results has come. Sudden switch to the Persona 4 soundtrack.
I can't wait to see what kind of challenge there is in store for me now.
I say urgent means very little to you now. And I often see that a lot on my emails at work, urgent, and I see 20 of them and I'm like, well, you all can't be urgent. It's not possible that you're all urgent. And I say that the moment that your comment appears in the chat area and you're on exactly the same wavelength as me. I imagine what this unknown enemy could be and thrust my left fist proudly towards the foreign winds. I can't keep my body from trembling with excitement and I plant my fist in my right palm. Early morning, May 3rd, Japan. After a flight that took over half a day, I arrive in Japan. Every time I fly, it always strikes me how cramped the seats are and how boring long flights are. And he's correct. If you're in economy, the seats are incredibly narrow, incredibly cramped, and the flight is boring no matter how much in-flight entertainment you have. Unless you have a Nintendo Switch and Shin Megami Tensei 5. Then all is good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're near the same, you get all these emails from like solicitor firms, and then when they don't get answered the same ways, and get lost in the pile, they get annoyed. Been there and done that. Considering that we're being placed in a hypoxic environment, it's a waste not to equip the seats with pec decks and give us access to some cardio equipment. Cardio in the sky. Could you imagine running on a treadmill and suddenly hitting turbulence? Yeah, it's not a good idea, Akihiko. As I head towards the arrival lobby, while thinking about my ideal airline, I hear something I hadn't heard in a while. A newscaster reporting in my mother tongue.
Good morning. It's May 3rd, Constitution Memorial Day. Our top story today is an update on the hijacking 2 days ago. 5 men attempted a daring hijacking of a domestic airline, the first such incident in Japan in the 21st century. Police began their official interrogation of the arrested suspects this morning. But all depositions have been vague so far, with suspects complaining of muddled memories. Psychiatric exams are being considered.
Had the Phantom Thieves struck early?
That must be the incident she mentioned in her email.
An exercise bike in the sky. Don't give airlines ideas, Avian. Next they'll have them connected to the engines and you have to generate power to keep the plane in the air. Like the super economy seat. You pay $20 to get on board and you just got a bike all the way across the Atlantic. There might be a novel idea in that. Must remember to watch this archive stream later. 2 days ago in Japan, a jumbo jet bound for Kagoshima was hijacked by a group of 5 men. The hijacking attempt was quickly dealt with because of the hijackers' half-hearted planning, but there was a bigger issue. Unbeknownst to the public, the passenger flight that was hijacked was going to have a very important piece of cargo loaded onto it. During the confusion surrounding the hijacking investigation, the cargo seems to have been stolen before it was loaded on the plane. The hijacking was just a smokescreen for the real crime. Using a hijacking as a distraction for a simple cargo theft is pretty daring, but it's also desperate and risky. My mission is to retrieve that cargo from whoever wanted it so badly. This isn't a situation that can be just left to the ordinary policeman. This cargo is extremely dangerous, and the retrieval has to be done discreetly due to its sensitive nature. I look away from the monitor and begin walking again. My cell phone immediately begins ringing, as if the caller was watching me the entire time. The name Mitsuru Kirijo appears on the sub-display. Mitsuru Kirijo. She's the one who summoned me here for this mission. I didn't tell her any details about my return flight, but she must have found the information on her own and called after learning of my flight's arrival. She's still as prepared as ever.
It's me.
It's been a long time, Akihiko. I'm sorry to call you back on such short notice.
Don't worry about it. I was at a good stopping point.
Mitsuru has such much greater standing in the group than I, but we've been classmates since middle school, and she fought alongside me in my biggest battle. Against the mountain of protein at Wild Duck Burger. It was a $20 all-you-can-eat challenge, and we had to make sure we put away at least 50 pounds of it. I managed to do 45, and she carried the last 5 pounds of protein over the line for me. I have a feeling that the only reason we were able to pull through such an ordeal was that we helped each other back then.
So, who's our next enemy?
Don't be so impatient. You received the brief I sent you, right? What I didn't say directly in it is that the stolen cargo was from Ergo Research.
I figured it would be Kirijo Group related, with you having to call me back.
Now, maybe Aris the Jack jumping in saying, hello, how are we all? So far, we are all fine. Although, Avian, I'm a bit concerned that you came up with the same idea I did, only it was to do with TVs rather than powering the plane. You've been watching too many of my streams. You've been influenced to the dark side. Most ordinary people in Japan would have at least heard of the name Kirijo. The Kirijo Group. A large conglomerate, one of the few within Japan that can boast a large market share overseas, apart from Sony, Honda, Toyota, Mitsubishi. Trying to think of many more. There's many more than that. Toshiba. That's 5 I thought of immediately off the top of my skull. Nissan, that's 6. Their influence is ever so present that they touch many aspects of a typical citizen's daily life. Mitsuru is part of the organization. In fact, she's the only daughter of its founding family. She grew up with untold responsibilities and expectations, and has been forced to navigate tumultuous social situations ever since she was young. Yep, the dark side has coffee. True, yep, that's a very fair point, Evian. I can dig that. That is why she has a refined personality, maturity beyond her years, and strong leadership skills. Although the same circumstances also expose her to the occasional surprising lapses in naivete.
What was inside this cargo?
The 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, Labyrinth.
An anti-shadow weapon? Does that mean...
Yes, she's one of Aegis' sister units. She was sealed at the time of the robbery, but we think it's very likely that she's been activated by now.
Which means there's a good chance there'll be a fight. Alright. Yeah, this would be too much for the normal authorities. Sounds like it'll be right up my alley.
The man who ran the group 2 generations ago, Koetsu Kirijo. He was the founder of the group, and also Mitsuru's grandfather. Around 10 years ago, the certain research that man was performing brought about a huge distortion of this world. The forces that created the distortion were known as shadows. I guess the best way I could describe them would be to say that they are monsters incarnated the darkness in people's hearts. In any case, there's something completely absurd like that. Koetsu Kirijo doing ergo research, in what would later be known as the infamous Kirijo Ergonomics Lab, to repeatedly perform inhumane experiments. He was artificially drawing out shadows in attempts to gain powers beyond what mortal men should have. But the experiment failed during the final stages. And I've always wondered, did Koetsu Kirijo get his influence from Kido Kandori in Persona 1? Because I'm sure Guido Kandori had a very similar idea. What remained after a big explosion were over 50 casualties and a distortion in the world that can never be repaired. Normal people are completely unable to sense this distortion at all, and yet, this same distortion could cause the entire world to collapse. 3 years ago, Mitsuru and I, along with our friends, devoted ourselves to a fight in order to end the threat of that collapse. The bonds and precious memories I gained from them are engraved on my heart and haven't faded to this day.
Fighting is not our first option, but I'd be more reassured with you there. We have a general idea of where it was taken, the Inaba area, where there were reports of suspected shadow activity last year.
Okay, I'll meet up with you at the actual location.
Are you heading directly there? You never change. Let me know if you need anything and I'll make the arrangements.
Protein, that's all.
Yeah, I should rename this stream the Protein Shake. To be fair, I did have a protein bar before I started, so I suppose I was getting in character.
What? No, it's better I don't ask.
Wise, Mitsuru. Very wise.
I'll send you the precise location later. Sorry to call when you've just returned from a trip, but I'm relying on your assistance.
You went to a lot of trouble to create the Shadow Operatives. I won't do anything to tarnish the name. I'll see you there.
The Shadow Operatives. That's the organization I'm part of. We're a joint task force comprised of the Kirijo Group and the police. Officially, we do not exist, which is why we look like shadows. Our main mission is to deal with shadow-related cases that the police are incapable of handling, and our objective is to prevent or minimize the collateral damage caused by shadows. Shadows can only be defeated by persona users. Mitsuru, myself, and many of the members belonging to the Shadow Operatives have personas and knowledge about them. And actually, you're actually wrong there, Akihiko. It's not only persona users that can defeat shadows. Demon summoners can as well. The Nahabino and the Demi-Fiend say hi. Mitsuru is fully dedicating herself to prevent Kirijo's tainted legacy from falling into the wrong hands. And actually, speaking of Shin Megami Tensei and Demon Double Summoners, actually, I'm actually hoping to do a stream, probably going to start next month, of a PS2 SMT title called Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga. I've got the ROM for it. I just need to get it all set up and get it played. That is her. No, it's the shared duty of ours in the group. I noticed that I've unconsciously formed my hand into a fist. I have an email from Mitsuru giving me details on the meeting location. As usual, she's thoroughly planned this out.
Inaba, huh?
A smile appears on my face. An opportunity to use all the skills and strength I've been honing. I will commit every fibre of my being to fulfill the duty I've been given. I couldn't ask for more. Okay, I will save over Aegis for this one. the same day, afternoon. If he's got all the way from Narita Airport to Inaba in one day, I want to know what bullet train is used. Meanwhile, interesting question for Snowbeaver saying, have I heard about Infinite IKEA? The last time I heard anything about IKEA was when my mate went there to get meatballs about 3 years ago. What is Infinite IKEA? Tell me more, I'm curious. I arrived in Inaba earlier than I planned. There's a lot of time to kill before I need to get the meeting. In order to get a feel for the town and what's going on, I decided to walk around a bit. From the looks of it, it's an ordinary countryside town. I can't believe the level 4 shadow-related case occurred here last year. As far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any disturbance going on right now. It looks like that unit named Labyrinth isn't running amok here either. As soon as I stray from the main street a bit, it's mountains and fields as far as the eye can see. The air is clean and the traffic is pretty light, so the town has that going for it. This would be a great place to go running early in the morning. Indeed it would. I'd love to run the trails of Inaba. Avian, that's literally all I associate with IKEA. Well, a nightmare store where you can never leave. What's this like? Five Nights at Freddy's DLC where you're in IKEA? Oh god, Hotel California. Wow, that's a reference and a half, going all the way back to the 70s, I believe, for that song. Before I was even born. I wait for evening to come while exploring as much of the town as I can.
It's almost time.
My cape flutters in the wind as I shadow box and jog to the meeting area. An intersection on the outskirts of what this town would call its shopping district. Meeting up in a rural area like this is a bit of a tricky situation. Since the shadow operators do not officially exist, we need to draw as little attention to our mission as possible, and it's why I'm wearing this big red cloak and showing all my scars. I'm going to completely blend in like this. Honest. Hopefully we can quickly map up and be on our way, so the residents don't take much notice of a bunch of outsiders assembling in their sleepy town. Great song, I agree, Avian, but yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's like if you like Black Sabbath songs, for instance, they were always 70s. And to be fair, I like some of the old country classics, like the old Johnny Cash and the old Willie Nelson songs. So, I can date myself even further back. Unfortunately, when I arrive at the meeting point, Mitsuru and the others are nowhere to be seen.
Did something happen? I doubt she'd run into any trouble she couldn't handle, though.
Could it be that I'm in the wrong place? There aren't any tall buildings to block my view, so I look in every direction. The only thing outside the shopping district obstructing my view is a mountain of garbage that looks like it might be a scrap heap or a junkyard. I may as well be diligent and head over there just to make sure. I enter the area, it's full of all kinds of junk. Cars and household appliances, large and small, are piled into small artificial mountains, which is bad for the environment. All that aluminium, all that radium, all that rare copper wires and everything else soaking into the dirt. Inaba, you should be ashamed of yourselves. I test my footing and begin climbing up the stacked trash. Look down. I spot a long black limousine that's completely out of place in this tiny town. I come to a realization and sigh.
Of course. They'd stand out no matter where they were, so they could only park here.
Two of my friends are standing by the limousine. A woman decked out in a fur coat and a mechanical girl. It's Mitsuru and Aigis. Snowbaby, is it actually some kind of game, like a horror game or something? Where it sounds curious, to say the least. Right before I can call out to them, Aigis does something bizarre. She extends her right arm towards the TV screen in front of her, and... Aigis' hand is passing right through the screen. Her steel fingers aren't just breaking the TV screen, they're definitely going inside it. Concentric rings of white light are rippling forth from where she inserted her hand. So, are you saying you've basically been going around IKEA forever and not been able to find the exit, Snowbather? I mean, I can kind of understand how that would be. They expect you to leave with like 2,000 items when you go.
It's the same as mine. It's hard to say definitively since this is my first encounter with it, but I believe this reading is from a personality module.
Does that mean our retrieval target is inside the TV?
I don't understand how or why, but it seems that people can enter that TV. If that's the case, it would be the perfect place to hide stolen cargo. That makes things easier.
Huh. Sounds like fun.
The two of them look up surprised.
Is that Akihiko?
I leap off of the mountain of trash and land in front of him.
You didn't show up at the rendezvous point, so I went looking and found you here. This whole TV thing is pretty interesting.
Akihiko, what on earth are you wearing? Just what were you doing overseas?
I mean, to be fair to Mitsuru's question, you can see he's still got his evoker, but everything else is completely cut off, isn't it?
Didn't I tell you that I was on a training expedition?
Don't tell me you came here from the airport like that. Does the concept of keeping a low profile mean nothing to you?
Well, to be fair, Mitsuru, you're the one walking around with a huge fur coat and everything else as well. And Aegis has got all the circuitry on display. None of you are blending in here. It's like in Final Fantasy VIII, when you walk around as like a biker wannabe, a punk fighter, a cowboy. You know what I mean? It's like, come on guys, you do stand out. I take a glance at Mitsuru and I can tell she's summoning up her coldest stare. This clothing allows me to have much better mobility, but I don't think Mitsuru is going to listen to my explanation.
Mitsuru-san, I believe we have lost the right to complain about that.
Thank you, Aegis! Thank you! Snowbeaver! Maybe, as much as I love Metis, she's proved a point there with that one. Glancing at Mitsuru's clothing once again, I couldn't help but sigh. Since Aegis already voiced what I wanted to say, I decided not to make a comeback. Mitsuru simply shakes her head and sighs back at me. Seriously, this is what happens when you grow up in a wealthy family, sheltered from the lives that normal people live.
Anyway...
I slam my left fist into my right palm. Aegis' sister unit, Labyrinth. She's apparently sat at TV, sitting in an obscure part of a countryside town. I gotta wonder, what else has been waiting for us inside?
We can get inside from that TV, right? And what are we waiting for?
Still the same Akihiko. We don't know the situation inside yet, and we'll need a secure means of getting out.
So what? If we want to get this Labyrinth back, someone has to go inside, right?
Well, that's...
Mitsuru's at a loss of words. I know that I'm voicing my opinions more forcefully than she's used to, but it's what I have to do. I know Mitsuru well enough to know when she needs someone to prod her into action. Wanting to exert control over every situation is a commendable trait, but in certain situations, waiting doesn't allow you to seize any more control, and it also gives your opponent more time to prepare.
Our target hijacked a plane to throw her into a TV in this town. If we sit on our hands, it's possible we'll be put in serious danger.
I lock eyes with Mitsuru and take a step towards her.
We're different from how we used to be. We made the choice to fight shadows as professionals. That's why I traveled around the world and trained harder than ever. And now that something's actually come up, you're hesitating? We agreed to do this. I'm ready to stake my life on the mission.
3 years ago, I had said that it was my duty to help in the fight, but looking back at it now, I know that a lot of it was just for kicks. Seeing myself definitively become much stronger and experiencing all that personal growth was incredible. Becoming stronger felt like it would satisfy some deep desire within me. And if I died giving my all against a really powerful opponent, I didn't really mind the thought of going out like that either. I was honestly fighting for myself more than anything else. But now, something has changed in me. I wandered around the world with something in the back of my mind constantly nagging at me. Something about not having a grasp of some part of myself. I want that power. The power to protect others. But that feeling has always been there. There's still something else. Something different. A few seconds of silence passed and Mitsuru's eyes narrow. Her eyes are filled with steely determination.
All right. Wait right here. I need to go make a phone call first.
Okay, but make it quick.
Mitsuru heads towards the long limousine where I smile. I turn my gaze towards the most prominent of the illegally dumped TVs. As I reach out towards the screen, my fingers sink into it exactly the same way Agus's did.
My fists are ready for action.
Excitement wells up within me as a reaction to the new sensation I feel from my fingertips.
The other members will wait here in the car.
Yeah. If we all barge in and something happens, they'll be devastated.
Now that you mention it, at least one of us should be staying behind as well.
I am not staying.
Us three will be plenty. We'll end this in a flash. No problem.
The same as always. Although, we have no idea what might be waiting for us on the other side. Don't get careless.
Right.
This situation, it brings back memories.
Ready!
You are not being hypnotized.
Why enter the TV? What's going on?
So the question is, where are we going to end up here? Is Akihiko will either end up outside the school or on one of the upper floors, I reckon. We could end up in the gym though, since he's a training guy. Ah, I was right. We're in the gym. When I open my eyes again, the first thing I can see is a high ceiling. I get to my feet and look around. Basketball hoops, the ground lined with white tape, and folding chairs stacked high into the air.
Is this a gym?
What I'm seeing now isn't matching what I'm expecting to be seeing. If my memory's correct, I entered the TV with Mitsuru and Aigis. Is this what's inside the TV? It hits me. This isn't reality. Everything looks extremely real, but I sense odd presences nearby. I brace myself inside this oddly quiet gym. If I'm the only one here, I must be cautious. Alone? I suddenly realize that Mitsuru and Aigis should be here too. They came into the TV with me, but they're nowhere to be seen. Did we get separated from each other as we were falling in? No. It's much more likely we were separated intentionally. Well, I don't really need to worry about them. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to handle anything in here on their own. Even if something does attack them, those two would just counterattack it with icicle executions and machine guns. Nice reference to the movies, that.
This feeling in the air reminds me of somewhere, though.
I felt this harsh atmosphere before. I dig through my memories. That's right. This is what Tartarus felt like. The tower full of shadows where we did battle 3 years ago. Since this area is unfamiliar, and, I'm assuming, hostile, there's no knowing when an enemy may attack. But waiting around to get ambushed isn't really my thing. It's time for me to get moving. Just as I think that... Is that Teddy? What in the world is that? A bizarre object approaches me from the furthest inside the gym. It's red, blue, and round. On top of that, it's walking on 2 feet. I've wandered all across the globe to different regions, but I've never seen a bizarre creature like this.
Huh? There's a weird guy in a cape.
Weirder still, it's able to communicate with me.
You think you've got the right to call me weird? You seem suspicious.
I mean, Akihiko's not wrong. Teddy can't call anyone weird.
How rude! I'll say the same back to you. Being half naked and wearing a cape is totally suspicious.
But to give credit to Teddy, he's not wrong either.
Could this be the pervert I've heard rumors about? My innocence is in danger.
You're making no sense at all. Who are you? Oh, don't tell me. Are you a shadow?
About that, Akihiko.
Huh? I'm Teddy! Teddy!
So you are a shadow.
Yeah, about that, Akihiko.
I just said I'm Teddy! Teddy! It's easy!
No bear has fur that color. Or can talk.
How cruel! I'm an adorable, sexy beast, no matter what angle you're looking from.
Teddy, stop that! Now! Teddy. Does that mean he's like a bear or something? Suddenly, a monitor nearby springs to life. What appeared on it was also red, blue, and round. It's another bear thing. Well, to be exact, it was also Teddy.
I can't have you wandering about on your own. You're such a troublesome bear. You're the troublesome one! How dare you do whatever you want while looking like me? It's a violation of my image rights!
What's going on? Are you twins or something?
Huh? I've discovered an unknown, half-naked caped man! An intruder! Unexpected!
Computer says no. Suddenly, the sound and image on the monitor gets corrupted. Just when I thought I was going to start figuring some things out about this place and those creatures. The screen flickers and dies out. Is this some kind of ruse? The monitor pops back on. Once again, it was Teddy's... this is too confusing. I'm just going to refer to TV Bear as Bear number 2. He will grow... A lot of overseas coaches add suffixes like the second or the great to their kids' names, so I figure I'll go with something similar. Yeah, the second or the great. Maybe in the 17th century, but not now. I don't know anyone who's known as like something the second or something the great. Unless you're a ridiculous narcissist, maybe. I'm in some crazy TV world, so I'm not just going to assume that these guys are Japanese. Like Bear number 2's going to care anyway. I've wasted enough time rationalizing this. Bear number 2's eyes gleam in a sinister manner. He starts speaking clearly now.
Case 04, unintended intruder. Entering elimination process.
Elimination, huh? I don't really have any clue as to what's going on yet. But I do know that Bear number 2 has just won the right to be the first one here to taste my fists.
I don't know exactly what's going on, but I've seen enough. Looks like you're the enemy here, Bear number 2.
I'm not sure how much stock I should put in common sense while I'm in this TV world. But if he's using a PA system, I'm guessing that there needs to be some kind of control booth for it. Since I'm in some kind of school, that means I'm probably going to find Bear number 2 in the announcement room. If Labyrinth is inside here, and if Bear number 2's running this whole event, he's got to have some information about her. I turn to Teddy.
As for you, Teddy, he seems to be your enemy too, but why don't you step down and let me handle him?
I proceed to walk off and search in the announcement room, but...
No way!
What?
I mean, who are you? You haven't even told me your name.
No worries, I was trying to say you gotta go early, that's perfectly fine. Enjoy sorting your room out. God, I hate adulting like that, it's so annoying.
And that bear might be a bad guy who tricked my beloved sensei and friends. I can't leave this in the hands of a half-naked cape man like you.
Teddy looks surprisingly resolute as he refuses my offer. Does he have friends of his own he's trying desperately to protect too?
Well, your costume is strange. I do like that fire in your eyes.
What's that that supposed to mean? It sounds perverted coming from a half-naked cave guy.
Oddly enough, Teddy's not wrong. I can't believe I just said that.
Hey, I have a name. It's Akihiko Sanada. You don't have to call me half-naked cape guy. And I know I can't prove I'm on your side just by saying so. So judge for yourself whether I'm worthy of your trust. In the ring.
You're that excited to do this?
Fists don't lie, you know? Now come on, and I'll give you everything I got.
It's punishment time! Well, I might run a search for that snob over. It certainly sounds interesting. I put my fist down in front of me and focus. If one does not face their cowardice, they cannot summon a persona. That's why persona users used to have to undergo the trial of holding a evoker to their heads. But that was simply a ritual to overcome one's psychological blocks. It isn't a required step in handling personas. My resolution has always been within me after all.
Come, persona!
I sense power rising from deep within me. So the first fight is against Teddy. Let's see how quickly I'll lose this match. Caesar versus King Tokyoji, whatever it is.
Finally.
Stay down, Teddy. Stay down.
The intruder is a persona user. Difficulties in elimination. Acknowledging as valid target.
Beer number 2 is muttering something on the other side of the monitor after watching our bout. It seems that I've been officially promoted to the rank of valid target.
Persona user? Are you talking about me? What do you mean by valid target?
Irregularity has occurred. Multiple intruders detected. Emergency. Emergency. Oh, I know! I've just had a fun idea!
Just as bear number 2 starts speaking like a normal person, the monitor suddenly cuts out. Seriously, who is this guy? One thing's for sure, and that is that I need information right now. I lean over Teddy's flattened body and lightly tap the back of his head.
Hey, Teddy, wake up.
No! Kanji! You're crushing me to death!
What's going through this guy's head?
Teddy, wake up!
I smacked Teddy a little more forcefully this time. I was worried it might take him an even ladder, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Valid target. Yes, is that a good thing? Maybe. Oh no, it's creepy flat Teddy. Oh no. Looks like that did the trick. Teddy gets up using whatever weird stomach muscles he has, and yells at me while still in that flattened state.
Hey! If you hit me so hard, you'll ruin my beautiful coat of fur! I'll go bald!
Something about those eyes. Look how creepy those eyes are. That's creepypasta material. That's nightmare fuel.
And it's just Teddy, not Teddy.
This is getting to be a pain. Teddy purses his lips and looks away with a huff. I wanted to demonstrate my sincerity with my fists. No doubt that I did that. Then again, considering how badly flattened he is right now, I guess it's understandable he doesn't want to talk to me. Yep, it is creepy. I agree, Avian. Very creepy.
Well, maybe I went a little too far. Let me at least talk to you. I have important business here, too. I need as much information as I can get.
Aren't you going to say sorry?
Don't push your luck. I'll pull out all your fur.
Nice.
I was just joking! Well, I am a knowledgeable bear, so I'll make an exception for you and listen.
Hey, I'm the one who won. Where does he get off with this attitude? It doesn't feel right letting that slide, but I don't want him getting all pouty again. I take a deep breath and turn to face Teddy once more.
First off, what kind of world is this?
Yes, it's the TV world.
Well, at least I was right about that. Teddy then went on to explain that there was a mysterious TV program called the Midnight Channel, and it only appears at midnight. That TV broadcast is caused by this world inside a TV. It seems that Teddy's back to his original appearance, or rather, his original thickness. He's like a big stress ball.
That's hard to believe. But even if that's true, why does it look like this? Is this supposed to be a school or something?
This is probably the school that Yosuke and the others go to.
It's a real place?
This world changes whenever someone comes here. I'm not sure why it's a school now, though.
It changes when people come here.
I used to live here for a long time, so I saw it happen a lot.
You lived here? Well, does that mean you're from this world? What are you?
That's,
Teddy starts climbing up all of a sudden. He started getting nervous when I blurted out the realization that he was living in this world and he wasn't human. Embarrassingly different from humans, huh? He definitely doesn't look human, but it's easy enough to overlook because he's able to carry on a conversation with me. And his fist definitely had a heart. I guess immediately springs to mind. She's a machine, but she also has the same heart as a person. Though this Teddy creature may be some kind of weird costume creature, he must have a heart as well. That being said, he does look pretty stupid. No, he looks very stupid.
There's so much I don't understand. But I can at least say I'm pretty sure you're no threat.
Of course not. I'd never cause anyone any trouble.
If you know this world so well, does the name 5th Generation Labyrinth sound familiar?
I've never heard of it. Every day's great at Juness. I usually spend my time there. But when I came to, I was locked up here. I managed to escape, though. Only to find that an imposter Teddy was causing a bunch of trouble with his P1 Grand Prix.
He was bummed out a minute ago, and now his face is bright red and there's steam pouring out of his head. This guy's a real piece of work.
That guy who showed up on screen looked exactly like you.
He calls himself the General. But don't confuse me for that phony. The real Teddy is made of all natural bear fur.
If that was someone in disguise, there must be a reason he's trying to look like you.
Ooh, I know. It must be because he's jealous that Sensei and everyone love me the most.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
But he's not 1/1,000,000th as cute as me. Anyone can tell he's a fake.
Yeah, it's totally obvious. I recall what Teddy said about the Midnight Channel earlier. Some of the things that happen in this world are broadcast to the outside world. If that's the case, then misinformation may spread, and people could be confused and misled. At this moment, I'm not sure why someone would be intentionally causing such confusion, but this Teddy guy mentioned that his friends were here. If Bear number 2 is in a position to them, then it's not too big of a stretch to imagine that he's trying to upset their friendships.
Alright, one last question. You said you used to live here. You know how to get out?
Of course! That was one of my specialties. I always helped other people when they needed to leave. But it's not working here for some reason. I'm losing my confidence. This is one bear of a headache.
Oh. Akihiko, just knock him out! For that one alone!
Ooh, that was an advanced joke.
No, it wasn't.
This is no laughing matter. won't be able to get out like this.
That wasn't advanced at all. Sheesh. He did give me valuable information, though. I now have somewhat of a grasp of the situation. My main objective is retrieving Labyrinth and escaping from this world. I won't be able to accomplish either of these things as it stands. And all we can really do on our own is speculate. So bear number 2. General, was it? I'll have to pound some more detailed answers out of him. All I need to do is keep moving forward. And if I move forward, I don't see the harm in doing it quickly.
That's it. You're coming with me.
Yes, Avian, it is terrible, and I'm not repeating that joke. It's that bad. Even mine are better. Let that sink in, people. Let that sink in. I'm assuming that I'm probably going to need this guy's help in getting out of here later. So grab the back of Teddy's head and sprint forward. But just as I'm about to exit the gym, Teddy gets completely stuck on something.
You're gonna tear it off!
I look behind me and Teddy is wildly flailing his arms around. But I don't see anything holding him back. What kind of trick is this?
Hey! You almost made me lose my head!
Ignoring the huge fuss Teddy's making, I reach over towards where Teddy is stuck. But I don't feel anything. Guess I'll just have to try again. I pulled back at Teddy's head towards me with all of my full strength. I roll my eyes at a lot of jokes to be fair, Avian, so I'm not sure that's a fair comparison. He's definitely stuck on something. For a moment it looked like the zipper on Teddy's neck warped. Whatever, it's probably just my imagination.
Huh? Looks like there's a wall that I can get through, but you can't. What a bizarre place this is.
Says the half-naked cake guy who pulled at my head so hard it almost came off!
Yes, Akihiko, pull harder. Take the head off! Take it right off.
Oh well, I'll have to leave you here. Make sure you don't go anywhere alone, you hear me?
I can't burn any more time here. As I turn my back towards Teddy to proceed on, his yell echoes inside the gym.
I won't let you abandon me! I get lonely real fast! I'm coming with you!
An enormous crash reverberates throughout the area. When I turn around, I see a flattened Teddy fluttering to the ground like a sheet of paper falling off a desk. He must have got a running start and slammed right into the wall of whatever at full force. Did he just run straight into an invisible wall head first without even thinking about how much it would hurt? This guy said that the general is an enemy of his friends, and because his friends are at risk, he can't just leave everything to me. His lack of regard for personal safety may be because he's so worried about his friends. He behaves oddly, but once you look past that, I can totally empathize with him.
Sorry. I'll come back for you when all this is settled.
Just hang tight, Teddy. I know it's a tough situation. I hurry to where the enemy is, for my mission, and for the sake of Teddy and his friends. When I step outside the gym, I hear a cheer from somewhere. The voices seem to be coming from outside the school building. Did a large number of people come into this world? This place is supposed to be like a world inside a TV, but this kind of seemed like a real school. It feels like an event like a culture festival, or field days taking place. There's still so much about this place I don't know. There were many parts of Teddy's explanation I couldn't grasp. I need first-hand knowledge. I need to see some things with my own eyes. I step over what looks like to be the school's main gate and check the nameplate.
Yasagami High School. I remember seeing that name in the report on Inaba.
So what Teddy told me about this place being scenery made to look like an actual high school is correct. But why recreate a high school inside a TV? As I'm taking stock of my surroundings, a high-pitched girl's voice emanates from a nearby speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, what will the next match be like?
An abrupt, confusing school announcement. Cheers arise from somewhere, seemingly in response to the announcement. I sense the presence of others, and when I look around, I noticed silhouettes of students who seem to have been watching from all angles. Are they human? They look like they're human, but I don't see any sense of life from them. No matter where in the world I went, people who were excited about a battle had a certain spark to them, and these guys don't have it.
Wow, this is one fired up crowd. Hi, everyone. I, Rizette, will be your commentator. But first, the General would like to say a few words. The mic's all yours, sir.
As if answering the commotion, the monitor set up in the center turns on. That General Teddy appears on the screen.
Well then, I'm proud to announce the opening of our very own P1 Grand Prix, presenting the manliest of all men. Oh, so you've come this far. I applaud your bravery in not running away.
Still hiding behind a monitor? It's about time you showed up in person. I'll crush you.
Nope, sorry, but I'm not falling for a cheap ploy like that. You better follow the rules.
Where was the ploy? He said he called you out as a challenge. That's not a ploy.
Allow me to explain. The P1 Grand Prix is a one-on-one battle. Those who are paired off must fight. Only the winner may move on.
Only the winner may move on. Then that invisible wall that Teddy ran into his face must be part of the contest this guy set up.
Huh. Interesting. Who are you gonna make me fight?
A bizarre laugh plays, and the image on the screen switches. What showed up next seemed like an odd commercial for a P1 Grand Prix. Here you go, Avian, this is for you. Did someone produce a video like this for the event? Does that mean everyone here is a willing participant? From the looks of it, they seem like ordinary students. I just don't think everyday students like this will be involved in the hijacking of an airplane, the stealing of Labyrinth, but...
Huh? Who are they?
I don't have to answer that.
Sorry, but I don't have time to play along. I'm taking back Labyrinth.
You are?
Huh?
The General on the screen looks shocked by my words. He'd been evasive and just laughed at anything I said until now, but this obviously struck a nerve.
Don't think everything's gonna be that easy for you. You all should suffer, and then suffer some more!
Is it going to play her? I'm not sure it will, Avian. I'm not exactly sure what specifically antagonized him, but it seems like he definitely knows something about Labyrinth. You think he made me suffer, huh? Well, bring it on! I flourish my cape and head into the school building.
It won't be easy, huh?
I think about what the General said a moment ago. Honestly, I can't really think of too many times in my life when things went easily. Growing up as an orphan, my memories of losing what was precious to me. I've never gotten too burdened by it, but I've constantly been pitied by others for my misfortunes.
Whatever. I never expected it to be.
The pain of loss is my source of determination. I must stay strong in order to protect those who are precious and by my side right now. Oh, you gone full-blown Maria and started pouting, Evian. I proceed through the school building, and after climbing up a number of stairs, I notice something odd. This place is bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside. The hallways don't turn in the direction you expect to see in the outside of the building, and the way the classrooms connect with each other is bizarre as well.
This is what I'd figure another world would be like.
I reach towards an upcoming corner, and I come into contact with an invisible wall. I see. So this is what prevented Teddy from following me. I could have done it much earlier, but now that I can potentially touch it... I put all my strength into that strike, but the wall barely gave it all. If it shakes, that means it's taking some damage. If I keep attacking it, I may be able to break through a portion of it and punch my way out. But I really don't know how much of this whole charade I can break through by destroying these walls. It wouldn't be a smart way of expending my energy. That's when something catches my eye. A window. When I reach towards it, the invisible wall doesn't impede my progress.
I knew it. Whoever set this up only thought about blocking people's paths. Anywhere there already was a real wall got overlooked.
I'm not obligated to play by my enemies' gimmicks. If they want me to go one way, maybe I can gain an advantage by taking a route that they don't expect.
Then I'll just go another way.
And this is where Chie catches up. I put my hands on the window's frame and jump outside. So, what did Chie storyline? I didn't follow Akihiko. So I'm guessing in the game she will follow me. I land near a classroom that seems to be half on the ground. I look through one of the windows. Though the interior is odd, it looks like it's a music room. The window's closed, but it's still just a glass window. If there were a real school, I'd hesitate to do this. But hey, this is a fake world. I rear back and put my fist through the window.
Whoa! What the? Who are you?
That's Kanji. There's another young visitor inside the room. He's a well-built young man in a school uniform.
Huh? You're that guy from the video.
Yep, unfortunately, Evian, no one's going to show it, but they are going to reference it.
Did you just come falling from up there? What's going on? Answer me!
I remember now. You're the blood-curdling beefsteak emperor.
Nice callback to the Persona 4 anime. For steak.
Hell no, come on! Did you even try to remember my name?
So that P1 Grand Prix thing has already started.
I recall the rule that those who encounter each other must fight each other. The general said that only a winner can proceed. I decided to see if those rules are still in effect, and I reached towards the exit of the music room. I feel the same wall barring my path as I felt earlier. The same goes for the window I came from. It's irritating now I have to follow the rules of the fight. But since the walls can't be easily destroyed, I've got no choice. I don't know what kind of circumstances this Kanji guy's faced with, but if we're gonna fight, we might as well do it right.
Hey, take off your clothes.
Whoa! What kind of journey have you been on, Akihiko? Where have you been? Don't answer that.
What the hell? How can you ask that straight out?
You're handling this better than me, Kanji.
What's wrong with what I said? Won't it be hard to maneuver wearing that?
Maneuver?
Why is he getting all flustered? His face is red. Maybe he's just not feeling well.
What are you all flustered for? I'm talking about your jacket. If you don't wear it right, it'll get in your way during the fight.
My jacket? You just said that to begin with? There's no real meaning behind this. It's like just the way I wear it.
It's plain weird.
Says the guy who's half naked except for a cape.
Seriously, you're ridiculous. It's bad manners to jump out a window like that.
The general makes a disgusted face and seems to be pretty upset about me mucking up his plans.
Sorry to say, I've never been big on manners. Too bad things didn't go your way.
We'll see if you can keep that attitude up for long. You must fight whoever you're paired with. Now get started!
I understand that, but I can't attack someone who doesn't have the urge to fight. I turn towards Kanji to spur him on, but his expression is completely different than it was before. The redness in his cheeks is gone, and there's a fire in his eyes that almost seems murderous. Looks like there was no need for me to worry after all.
You keep saying the weirdest crap. It's like I'll have to make you leave. Let's get this started, KP.
What, now you're interested? Alright, come and get me.
You're not really strong anyway. Just a fake. Nothing worthy about it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Shut up! Try to ask yourself that. Here it goes.
So I think this is actually it's going to be Emperor versus Emperor. Yeah, because they're both the same Arcana. Akihiko and Kanji.
Finally.
Sorry, Kanji.
In the end, the victor was no surprise.
In the end, the victor was no surprise. Kick him while he's down, why don't you, Rasat? Jesus. I take a deep breath next to the collapsed Kanji to lower my heart rate and wind down from the battle. Then I calmly re-examine my surroundings. During the battle, I noticed that the spectating students had changed into something completely different. They're not humans. They're silhouettes shaped like people or something. I don't know why they're showing their true form now, but that's fine. If they're not human, there's no need to worry about them. I'll just leave them be. Hey, stop stealing Narakami's line! I'll just leave them be. If they happen to turn hostile, I can easily crush lifeless creatures like that. Kanji regains consciousness. He's recovered much more quickly than I was expecting.
It's amazing. So this is what you meant by going at it with nothing to hide.
When did I say that?
You're one passionate guy. Guess you're no ordinary pervert.
Oh, since when am I a pervert?
Kanji flashes a bright smile that's different from the one he displayed before the fight. Anger and hatred have fled his body entirely now. The fight is over. Seems like he's got spirit.
Ow! Man, for a dream, this sure hurts. Huh? That's weird. The dude I've never met before is here in my dream.
Dream? What are you talking about? Aren't we inside the TV world?
Huh?
The TV world. If you can dream with your eyes open, I'm pretty impressed.
What? You're inside the TV? I seriously thought this was all a dream!
It doesn't seem like Kanji's acting. He honestly seems to think this entire thing was a dream. I've heard that the people in that promo video were related to the General. Maybe everyone here was actually dragged into this by force. If so, I can't abandon the others who were in that video either.
Hey, do you have any idea who the other people in that video were?
They were pretty much all my friends, but...
Oh, crap.
Kanji clutches his head as something occurs to him. This seems quite serious.
Thought this was a dream, so I kinda sorta beat the snot out of a couple of them.
Well, if they lost to someone who was half asleep, they'll just have to suck it up.
Oh, ouch! Damn, that's a bird and a half from Akihiko there.
You think so? Things are just that black and white to you, huh?
Seriously, I thought it was going to be some important information. This Kanji guy's been yanked out of his normal life into this weird situation, and he seems oddly blasé about it.
If this isn't a dream, then Ted and Rise are really hosting it?
General Teddy. The other Teddy said that he was a fake.
A fake? You're kidding me! How'd he make such a perfect copy of the bear suit?
That's the part you're hung up on?
Yeah. They're hardly twisted bastards who enjoy watching friends crush each other.
You seem pretty sure of your friends.
Man, the things I went through with those guys. And here I thought you were a pervert who wasn't listening to a word I said. Guess I had you figured wrong.
Looks like this guy's having a tough enough time changing the way he thinks about me. Maybe he's just an idiot. The way his expression changes to that honest and relieved look when he's talking about his friends. It seems that he has friends he can really trust. If we met under less dangerous circumstances, I wouldn't mind sitting around and chatting with him for a bit. But I have a duty to attend to right now.
By the way, have you heard the name Labyrinth anywhere? She's supposed to be somewhere in here.
Huh? Labyrinth? What?
Oh, God. Bless him.
I see. If you don't know, don't worry about it.
And with that, I'll leave Kanji and begin walking towards the door. Kanji calls out and stops me.
Hey, wait a second. You haven't told me anything about you. Who are you? What did you come inside the TV for?
There's no point in explaining.
What?
Kanji attempts to stop me, but he changes his mind. His expression tells me he's not satisfied with this outcome, but he swallows his frustration and takes a seat on the ground. Since he's fought against a number of people already, he must understand he can't proceed on because he lost. Kanji looks directly in my eyes and speaks up.
Well, I was the loser here, so I can't complain. This isn't a dream, and my friends are in trouble.
That's all you need to say. I answer with a smile.
I know. I won't let anything happen to him.
The way you fought says it all. You can't throw punches like that without a shitload of training. You can feel your determination behind every one.
Yeah, the same's true for you. Good work.
Praises exchanged after trying to beat each other senseless. With that moment that only those who've just brawled against each other can share. And, to be fair to Akihiko, he's not wrong. When I did jiu-jitsu and we all threw each other around and we tried to like see who could get the most air when we did our hip throws, for instance. We used to always talk, or when someone, if you was training with like someone who was 4 foot and you're my height, and they literally was like flying like a doll and they had to land from like a good 7 foot fall. I miss being able to train. Kenji's skills are exceptional for a high school student. When I was in the boxing club, there were only a handful of guys who could trade blows with me like he just did. Considering that he's this good with self-taught fighting skills, there's no question he'd become an unparalleled fighter if he had proper training.
But you should be careful. My friends are hella strong, you know? If you're not careful, you'll be eating pavement.
Was that supposed to be a genuine warning for me? Or was that a boast about how great his friends are? Either way, I can understand the feeling behind his words, so I smiled back at him.
I don't know about that. My fists can't be stopped that easily.
There's nothing more I need to say to Kanji. I turned and began running down the hallway. Sometime departing ways with Kanji.
This is pointless.
I'm still wandering aimlessly through this old school building. I have no idea if the path I'm taking right now is correct or not, because the invisible walls keep getting in the way. I spun another window and reached towards it.
Guess they fixed that little loophole.
Kinda like the makers of Gran Turismo 7, who've removed the gearing from being able to nerf the tomahawk. I can't do my Tokyo grinding anymore. Well, fuck you, Polyphony Digital. I ain't paying to get in-game credits for your game, so fuck you. It didn't take them very long to put invisible walls over the windows. And for those of you who don't understand, in GTA 7, they actually make you buy currency with real world money. Fuck off. Your microtransactions can go to fucking hell, Polyphony Digital. Fuck you and the shitty car you rode in. Just as I pull my hand back, the PA system blares.
No more breaking the rules. Seriously, why can't some people follow simple directions?
You act like I ever intended on following your rules.
The fact that they've gone into trouble to correct their oversights means that limiting our movement must be very important to them. They don't want to let us escape. So, that probably means that there's something waiting up ahead that they've just placed there for me. I follow the path dictated by the invisible walls until I reach a classroom. Is this where they wanted me to go?
Akihiko, you're all right. Then again, seeing you isn't necessarily cause for celebration. If we're both here in one place, that means...
Yeah, looks like it.
Who I found inside the classroom was none other than Mitsuru. Normally, running into her would be a great relief, since it would give me a capable ally. But since the stupid P1 rules are in effect, that isn't the case here.
So, you're my next opponent.
This is exactly what the enemy wanted.
When Mitsuru makes this bitter declaration, the monitor inside the classroom turns on. I already knew who I'd be seeing. It's the General.
Ta-da! Well, this is about to get real interesting. An unwanted battle between friends. I hope you do enjoy it to the fullest.
Is that supposed to upset us? Can you believe this guy, Mitsuru?
This certainly is an unwanted battle between friends. I have no intention of fighting against Mitsuru, but we both understand what needs to be done in order to accomplish the mission. There's no way we would allow a little something like this to shake our resolve. But, oddly, when I look back towards Mitsuru, I see her looking at me with pity.
I'm sorry, Akihiko. I believe I may have driven you into a corner.
Huh? What do you mean?
I should have realized much sooner. It's not strength you truly desire. What you really want is to forget your fear of losing others. That's why you throw yourself so fervently into your training.
Oh, low blow, Mitsuru.
It's a twisted form of escape. At the very least, you can allow me to put an end to such things.
Forget my fear of losing others, huh? As Mitsuru well knows, I have lost countless things until now. and that anxiety that I buried somewhere in my heart may strike me at any moment. But the Mitsuru I know wouldn't bring up something like that at a time like this. It'd be obvious to any friend of Mitsuru. There's something going on here.
Teddy and Kanji also started getting personal before the fight. Is this some kind of trick?
I've got no idea what you're talking about. Sounds to me like she means it.
I don't know what you're up to here, but you're gonna have to try harder. It's fine, though. I'll just take this chance to enjoy some serious sparring.
Those who encounter one another must fight, and only the victor may proceed. Since this rule still stands, we gotta fight. They've removed any choice we had. I turn to face Mitsuru once again.
There were a bunch of people I wanted to fight once I got back to Japan, to test my skills. And you were at the top of the list, Mitsuru. Didn't think I'd get a chance so soon, though.
Mitsuru takes her stance without saying a word. The tension of battle sends a tingle through all the muscles in my body.
Here goes, Akihiko.
Come and get me, Mitsuru!
And for those of you who remember my stream of The Answer, what's going to happen now is that Mitsuru is going to spam Megiddo Lowen. When I accidentally use a... Well, not accidentally. I cast Makara-Khan. I found out, actually, that's actually hard-coded into the game. If you use Makara-Khan there, you're guaranteed to lose. I can't get near her. She was really annoying to fight because of the range of her attacks. Fighting Akihiko, getting in range was a pain in the arse. The battle is over. I glance down at Mitsuru. She keeps her firm expression and opens her mouth.
I yield. Your skills have improved tremendously, Akihiko.
Yours too. I was really worried there that you might execute me.
Oh, I know what he's talking about, people. I know. Mitsuru gives me a smirk. That's the Mitsuru I know. So, her out behavior part of the fight was the general's work. I wonder.
Mitsuru, what did I say to you before the fight?
Huh? Why do you ask? As I recall, you said some unkind things about my late father.
I knew it. Of course I have no memories of saying such things, because I didn't say them. The general's probably got some trick that warps the opponent's reality so that good friends will hate each other. Maybe it was all an illusion. I don't understand how it all works, but there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Mitsuru and I turned towards the monitor and smugly smiled at the general. His little gimmick was completely useless. General Teddy can barely contain his hatred as he responds.
How? How can you fight without holding back like that? People hesitate more when they face their friends. They break down. They suffer. So how come you aren't suffering? Why? I don't understand.
I'm not surprised. Anyone who needs to trick people to get his way wouldn't understand. Our bonds aren't that flimsy.
After the general glowers at us, the communication cuts off. Suffer, huh? The general was going on about making us suffer earlier. Is that why he has us all fighting here? To make us suffer? But then why would he steal Labyrinth?
Akihiko, let's compare notes. I want to confirm our situation.
Right. Although I don't have much for you.
I give her a summary of everything I've figured out to this point. Since Mitsuru's persona has a search ability, I'm sure she's been able to gather much more information than I have. She seems to already know everything I've discovered, so Mitsuru then fills me in on what she's learned. Aigis is safe, though neither of us has encountered her. All the high school students in the commercial seem to be persona users, and the general seems to be gathering persona users into this world. Unfortunately, neither of us knows what his intentions are. But more importantly, where's Labyrinth?
Did you find Labyrinth?
Aigis seems to have made contact with her. She seems to be calling herself the student council president of this school. In fact, she's going so far as to play the part.
Play the part?
She seems to be unaware that she entered a TV. It's possible that someone forced her in here, but that doesn't explain why she's acting out a role in school life.
I have no idea what that could be about right now. This place is a school, but it's still just a copy of a school in another world. What kind of school life could possibly be here?
And one more thing. I heard a strange voice. I'm not certain, but it's most likely Labyrinth. Either her inner thoughts or her memories. It was a voice of deep sorrow, suffering, sadness. It was so vivid I wanted to cover my ears.
Mitsuru cast down her eyes as if reliving the pain. A great portion of Ergo Research's data was lost because of the actions of the former researcher. He was the mastermind behind the event 3 years ago. All of this must be mortifying for Mitsuru. That man is the reason why her family was taken from her.
If that was truly Labyrinth, then she's practically human. She may not be that far behind Aigis in terms of mimesis.
Sure, Aigis' sister unit would have a mind. But does that mean the older version is more advanced?
Doesn't seem likely, but I can't say for certain. Still, I'm only speculating, but I feel like her deeply negative emotions are connected to this tournament.
Connected how?
Do you really think Labyrinth was stolen? The generals seem to want to make us suffer rather than eliminate us. Would a thief wish for that? Or draw in unrelated high school students?
I see. That General Teddy's actions do seem in line with what Labyrinth wants. He actually may in fact be Labyrinth.
It's possible that Labyrinth regained consciousness much earlier and escaped when she was being transported.
I can't deny that possibility right now. But there's something else I do know.
Mitsuru, you're doing your brow furrowing thing again.
What? That doesn't matter right now.
You're overthinking things. All this conjecture and speculation will drive you nuts. Let's pick this up again once we defeat the enemy.
Mitsuru's always been like this. She imagines worst-case scenarios that haven't even happened yet and burdens herself coming up with contingency plans based on them. No, that's not overthinking, that's smart. That's what that is, that's smart. Even though she doesn't necessarily stop moving forward, it certainly does weigh her down. Sometimes we need that little hard-headedness, but there's a time and a place for it.
Ever think that maybe it's you who's underthinking things?
My point exactly.
Anyway, there's no time to lose right now. You know where the enemy is, right?
Yes, I've traced its location. It should be nearby. I will leave the rest to you, Akihiko. Don't disappoint me, alright?
As Mitsuru says those words, her expression softens a bit. It seems that I've been able to reach her.
Ha! Of course not.
Mitsuru has grown as well. She's changed since that battle 3 years ago. Now that I think about it, a lot of time has passed since then. None of us have remained standing in the past. We've all changed. I part ways with Mitsuru and hurry on ahead. According to Mitsuru's research, the enemy seems to be nearby. The enemy is waiting for their encounter with us as well. Well, that's one which I won't mind granting at all. Just as I reach the top of the stairs, a loud noise punctuates the atmosphere. Is someone on a rampage with their persona? No, it's not it. It's the sort of sound that a massive object creates upon impact. I hear it again, coming from the room ahead. There are no invisible walls making my way towards the sound, and I finally reach my destination.
The announcement room. Here we go.
The monitor and PA system must have been controlled from this room. I grab the door handle, but it won't open. This is different from those invisible walls. However, it's just an ordinary door. Sorry if there's a broadcast going on, but I'm going to have to punch my way in. I smash through the door and into the room.
Whoa! It's that red cape guy
Haha, it's Cheer Story. Everyone inside immediately wheels around to face me. There are 2 female students before me. One of them I recognize from the video, but the other is an unfamiliar face. It's my first time seeing her, but I immediately know who she is. She looks like a regular person, aside from all her mechanical parts. It's Labyrinth. And General Teddy.
So it wasn't Labyrinth after all.
Immediately, General Teddy is glaring at me and begins to change. Oh, here's the animation. So I do love the Easter eggs of Persona 3 in that design where this Labyrinth has the same joints as Orpheus. I think that's really cool.
I am a shadow. The true self.
Another Labyrinth.
Well, this is completely unexpected. I can't even come up with a reason for why something like this would occur. Maybe this is another of his illusions. No, if that were true, what I'm seeing would be more direct to Solomon and a fort. I start inventing and discarding possible reasons for what's happening. Eventually, I just cast aside all my theories. I take a deep breath and calm myself. What is my objective? I was summoned to retrieve Labyrinth and prevent any danger from spreading. It doesn't matter if there's 1 or 2 or 21 of her. My initial objectives are unaffected, and I will give everything I have to complete my mission.
Fine. I'll just calm them both down.
I taunt both of them as they maliciously stare daggers at me. And there's the to be continued, as I thought.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
So,
this place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. Now then, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, we've done the first one in only an hour and a half, so we're going to go from the Emperor to the Empress. We're going to complete the P3 cast.
Well,
Very well.
Let's go.
We're going to play as Sai. Well, voice very similar to her. Last November, in the year 2010, the darkness fell without warning. At the same time, the previously busy examination room fell so silent that the man's ears hurt.
Hey, what happened?
He called toward the back of the room, but no answer came. After working for public safety for over a decade, he thought little could faze him anymore. But this was uncomfortably alien. It was no ordinary blackout. If it were, the faint light from machines running on battery power, such as cell phones, would remain. But the silence disturbed him even more. He hadn't heard so much as a single cry. When he looked around, he saw one spot in the darkness where something was giving off an eerie glow, as if painted in incandescent pigments. Yes! Once his eyes began to adjust to the darkness, he was finally able to make out the area around that light. And there we are! Persona 3 is back, people. The people are transmogrified into coffins. The dark hour remains. The shining spot was revealed as a small, strangely decorated box that a man had only just delivered to the forensics unit.
Forensics team! What the hell is...
He called out, still squinting at the shadow of the person he could see at the window before him. But as the shape resolved, he saw that it was not a person's shadow at all.
Huh?
He had no words to describe it. At first glance, it seemed to be a coffin. Indeed, that is what it was shaped like. But he had never seen a coffin standing upright, tall as an adult, shining like a dark crystal. Yet that was clearly what the crystalline mass was. squatting in the spot where a window clerk normally stood. And upon closer examination, it wasn't the only one. At desks, in front of the evidence shelf, next to a reference computer, the objects towered everywhere, as if they had taken the place of humans.
What are these?
A chill ran down the man's spine. "They're people," was the thought that instinctively came to mind. Was this the reason he couldn't hear anyone else's voice? Was it because everyone but him was...
What's going on?
Once the fear had set in, it wasn't easy to shake off. His familiar office was starting to look like a grotesque netherworld. He felt quite sure he had to get out. Quickly, he turned around and grabbed the knob to the door through which he had just entered. But...
What the...
It didn't budge. It wasn't that the door was locked, preventing the doorknob from turning inside the latch. The knob was completely frozen in place.
Is anyone here? Hey, let me out!
The man slammed his fist against the door, yelling in desperation. But the sensation he felt when he first impacted the surface wasn't that of hitting a door. It felt completely at odds with what he saw, as if a picture of a door had been drawn onto a solid wall. It was then that the man noticed that another light, similar in color to that emanating from the box, could be seen on part of his hand as he swung forward. It was a ring. And suddenly he remembered. When he brought in the small box, he found several bizarre ring-shaped objects within it. While handing it over to forensics, he suspected that they might be rings. To check the theory, he put one on. And now that ring was emitting the same eerie light as in the box. Though he still had no idea what was going on, it was immediately apparent that it was directly related to the current situation. The man grabbed the ring with sweat-slipped fingers and tugged, ready to pull off his own finger if necessary. But just at that moment...
I wouldn't take that off right now.
What?
The man couldn't help but gasp. He looked around, but could sense no one inside the room with him. Where had the voice come from?
I'll be there to rescue you shortly. Calm yourself and wait there.
When the man calmed himself, he realized that it wasn't a voice. The sensation was indescribable, but it was distinctly unlike hearing with one's ears.
Who's there?
Oh, pardon me. This is Mitsuru Kirijo. We met earlier.
Kirijo. He did know a Kirijo. It was she who brought the strange small box. And that wasn't all he knew. The Kirijos were a wicked family who used their fortune and influence as a shield, continuing to frustrate the police. Despite that, the man couldn't help himself feel relief wash over him. Perhaps he might survive this after all.
Oh, well, I appreciate the help. Just hurry.
After getting the muttered words out, he sank to the floor, the door at his back. Mitsuru Kirijo. If he recalled correctly, she was the eldest daughter of the Kirijo group's founding family. He noted that her voice had been far calmer than his, despite the situation they were both in. He sensed a measure of trustworthiness from her. And to think, it had been merely an hour ago that he was asking himself why such a young girl had been chosen as the head of the Kirijo group at all. The digital clock in the door in the corner of the desk quietly announced the arrival of 10 in the morning. Normally, most of the staff would be out and about by now, but the entire police department was in turmoil today. It was only to be expected, with a key figure from the Kirijo group visiting on unusual business.
Kirijo, huh?
The Kirijo group was a named major trading firm, synonymous with Japan. They had links to all areas of business. Not a day could go by without in the city without hearing their name. The clock that had struck 10 bore the logo of Kirijo Electronics, and KJ was the carrier for the cell phone that provided to every member of the force. A few days ago, this same Kirijo group had made a seemingly insane proposal. The document was hundreds of pages, but a brief summary would read, "We wish to collaborate with the police on an unofficial department for eliminating monsters."
Well, it does happen from time to time. Famous businessmen end up advocating cultish nonsense in pursuit of their ambitions.
Upon consideration, it was decided that the Kirijo group should be invited to give it a pitch. Of course, there was no intention of spending tax money on the outlandish proposal. The police's interest in humouring the Kirijo group lay elsewhere. The Kirijo group had offered an incentive whereby if the police agreed to the meeting, they would provide a detailed list of the ergonomics research lab's artifacts, as well as actual samples. It was this that drove the officials' decision. For there had been dark rumours bandied about the Kirijo group over the last 10 years. While still a family-run business, some said that the old man, Koetsu Kirijo, had delved into the paranormal research and was performing his inhumane experiments. The police collected enough evidence to test the rumor and had prepared many times to force an investigation. But every time the investigation came to nothing, due to the group exerting hidden pressure, frustrating those working on the case to no end. The investigation's prime target was the infamous Ergo Research, the Kirijo Ergonomics Research Lab. Exposing the Kirijo group's dark side had been a dream of public safeties for 10 years now. And now, Kirijo seemed willing to hand over Ergo Research's tightly guarded secrets on a silver platter. No one knew the reason for this sudden about-face, but neither did anyone think of turning them down. They agreed to the summit not to hear out whatever proposal Kirijo was offering, but as a stepping stone toward unearthing their past crimes. Time passed, and the agreed-upon time in the afternoon came. The man was tasked with watching over and bringing in the artifacts from the Kirijo group. Though he would not speak with the guest, the police's plan afforded him a major responsibility that gave him something like a leading role. It wasn't long before the Kirijo car arrived in the underground Porte Cochere. The staff there to receive the guest only shrugged at the long black limousine that would have turned heads on the main roads. One of the youngest recruits looked towards the man and asked a question.
Chief, what's with that car?
But that was the least of the surprises in store. When the Kirijo group representative stepped out of the limousine, she was shown to be a beautiful young woman no older than a university student. Not only that, but she had ascendants dressed in what could only be described as maid uniforms. Daru, where are you? To start chanting Ferris-tan. All of them were young women, roughly her age. The scene mesmerized the various dignitaries present to greet her.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I am Mitsuru Kirijo, representing the Kirijo group. It's nice to meet you.
Her brisk greeting radiated poise. From there, she shook hands with the assembled dignitaries in a manner that showed she was no stranger to social gatherings.
She's the company rep? Really?
The young recruit who was speaking looks out of the corner of his eye, muttered in spite of himself.
Their proposal said the rep who's coming today would be the leader of this new unit, but I thought it was supposed to be some hardcore armed response team, and she's leading it? Well, I guess it's better than some meathead.
Shut up and hold your position.
But in truth, the man felt the same way. Certainly, this monster extermination unit would never be incorporated, but even if it were, he was sure this wisp of a girl could never do such work. Eventually, the dignitaries entered the agencies with Miss Kirijo. All of them wore lopsided smiles due to the young beauty's unexpected appearance, but that would do for now. The dignitaries were only there to receive her. Their true objective was loaded in the truck parked behind the limousine. The documents and artifacts of Ergo Research.
All right, start bringing them in.
Roger, sir.
And the man signaled. His trained subordinates surrounded the Kirijo truck. They formed a line, smoothly passing boxes from the man to man into the building. The articles were of various sizes, with even a few that came in oversized metallic containers for aerial transport. The Kirijo group had warned them not to handle these things carelessly until explanations were forthcoming. But in truth, the department was already prepared to begin a forensic investigation of the objects, or even send them to the lab.
Are you sure it's okay for us to open these? The instructions said not to.
It won't be a real investigation if we let them hamstring our procedures. Besides, I can't think of anything they could send us that we couldn't handle. Unless there's real monsters inside these things.
That could be foreshadowing. The articles were brought in silence. The operation only lasted about 15 minutes. The man himself retrieved the last item, about the size of a jewelry box, and checked the truck to make sure nothing went overlooked before closing it up. That done, he turned and walked quickly towards the forensic room. Trying to maintain his composure, he couldn't contain the excitement he felt. For 10 years, the darkness of the Kirijo group had been a frustrating legend, like mist between the department's fingers. The chance to investigate and expose them was here at last. If even the slightest evidence matched the DNA of those who had gone missing, or the victims of the unsolved cases, victory would be theirs. The man tried to tamp down his exhilaration and took another look at the small box he held. There was no upper lid on the box. A pedestal-like protrusion in its center held a number of small, circular trinkets. Their usage was completely unknown. What kind of research produced these? Just as the man was about to hand the box to the window clerk, he saw a wedding ring in the clerk's finger. And came to a realization.
Huh. Are these rings?
We're not sure yet.
The man put on some protective latex gloves and tried one of the objects on. After looking at it from every angle, its color and shape seemed to be nothing but ordinary. If it was meant to be jewelry, it wasn't very attractive. The man couldn't picture scientists in lab coats slaving away in a lab to create rings like this. The moment that unlikely possibility came to mind, the man felt somewhat embarrassed by his ignorance of fashion and accessories. But as soon as he reached for the small box to put the ring back inside, darkness suddenly fell.
Please step away from the door.
The voice echoed inside the man's mind, brought him back to reality. He took a few steps away from the door as the bartender stood ready. Step away from the door. The more he thought about it, the more stranger the order seemed. How did she know he was so close to the door when she wasn't even in the room? Suddenly a chill filled the area. In mere seconds, the entire door was coated in white.
Where'd this ice come from?
It had frosted over. The man couldn't believe his eyes, but the evidence was there in front of him. He could hear a slight knocking sound, followed by a crack forming in the center. The door buckled under its own weight and crumpled with a sound that was like building blocks being pushed over. Standing just behind it was the Kirijo woman. She walked over to the man with exquisite nonchalance. At her side was one of the maids she'd brought.
Are you all right?
I'm guessing it's going to be I guess.
Yeah.
We did give you fair warning, but it seems to have gone unheeded.
The man looked towards the ring shining on his finger.
This happened because we touched that box? What is this thing?
That ring gives its bearer an unstable form of pseudo-potential and allows anyone to experience the Dark Hour.
The Dark Hour?
The box itself seems to be a failed recreation of the Dark Hour. The effect radius is small, and it malfunctions when improperly handled.
The Dark Hour. He remembered that phrase coming up in the documents about the Kirijo group had sent. If you recall correctly, it was defined as a hidden time, unable to be experienced by normal people, where everything stood still. According to the documents, it seems to have occurred every night at midnight for about 10 years, until spring 2011, as if forcing its way into normal time. Until now, it seemed like pure fantasy. But could the silent darkness be the same thing?
So you're saying those stories in that document, that occult-sounding stuff was actually for real?
At that moment, a voice suddenly echoed from beyond the hallway, past the broken door.
Who's there?
The man reflexively called out in alarm, realizing that the fear had not yet died down. One emerged from the darkness was the young recruiter who had greeted the guests earlier, and had been helping with bringing in the artifacts. The young man was staggering as if severely drunk.
Chief!
Hey, are you alright?
The man began to rush to his side, but the Kirijo woman silently stopped him. She stood between the two as if protecting the man.
What? He's my...
Before he could finish, a surprising change overtook the recruit. The recruit fell to the ground with an agonized scream. A black tar-like substance began flowing from his every orifice.
What?
The ooze spread up unnaturally across the ground and cohered into a glob. It rose up like a beast raising its head, and what looked like claws began to form. Its appearance showed clear signs that it possessed some malevolent will. Oh, I love that. That's an awesome design. That's a brilliant look for a shadow. The man thought again about the Kurosawa group's initial proposal. We wish to collaborate with the police on an unofficial department for eliminating monsters. Without a doubt, this was what they referred to. That name that came up again and again was...
This is a shadow.
That it is. It's a monster that dwells in every person's heart. They usually can't manifest themselves this way, but it's quite common to see it happen during the dark hour.
So the research to make this happen artificially. That's what Kurosawa has been experimenting with.
That did seem to be the extent of it. At the start.
At the start? The man couldn't prevent himself from shuddering to imagine the implications of her statement. With the second roar, the half-liquefied shadow suddenly took the form of some fell beast. But where the face should have been was nothing but a mask, giving it a stitched-together bizarre appearance of two creatures. The young woman, for her part, seemed not in the least perturbed. I don't know if that's meant to be an Easter egg to Erebus, because the face looks very similar to Erebus.
Kikuno, my things, please.
The maid started to reach something. The man wasn't sure what she had been carrying, but she placed a sword in her master's hand. The blade was specially shaped, similar in design to a fencing saber.
You're going to fight it?
Stay back. This will all be over soon.
At that moment, as if understanding their conversation, the shadow squared itself and leapt towards the young woman. Its speed matched its beastly appearance. In the darkness of the room, the man found it difficult to simply keep his eye on it. But the young woman did not move. Her saw remained lowered in the face of the shadow's advance. Of course, thought the man. An amateur like her could never react in time. However...
Artemisia!
At a word from the young woman, some unseen force slammed the shadow against the wall. The man momentarily doubted his own eyes. For it hadn't been the woman who repelled the monster, but a silhouette that suddenly appeared behind her. It looks as though that being, enveloped in the sublime light, contrasting the shadow's dark glow, was a woman wearing a majestic dress. Yes, fair point there, Avian, yes. Marin Karen. Obey my command, miss. Its silhouette held up a hand towards the crouching shadow. Once again, the man felt freezing air fill the room, and with that, the shadow stopped moving. Frost crystallized all over it, turning it into an ice sculpture within seconds. Only then did the young woman swing the sword in her hand for the first time. A white gleam arced through the air. Upon impact, the frozen enemy shattered like it had been crystallized sugar rather than ice. The victory was so one-sided, the man hesitated to call it a battle.
Are you all right?
The young woman turned towards the man. The sound of her boots hitting the floor gave him the jarring realization that she hadn't moved a single step during the fray. Seeing that he was at a loss for words, she gave him a smile. It was all too much for the man. He actually felt relieved to be protected by this small woman. One thing was obvious. She had been through countless battles much like the one he just witnessed.
Your fallen employee's life is in no danger, but he'll be very weak. Make sure he gets to a hospital. Should I make the arrangements?
Mitsuru, you just froze him and cut him into bits. And he's in no danger, will be alright. What?
No, I should at least handle that. It is a public security matter.
With a nod, the young woman approached a small box and manipulated it in a way he couldn't quite catch. The eerie yellow-green light began to fade. Moments later, the silence and darkness faded. The world had been restored. The man felt his body suddenly become lighter, causing him to breathe a sigh of relief. He hadn't realized until the pressure was gone that the air had been suffocating as if he had been underwater. There was a stir of movement in the room. The forensics team and assistants looked at the man and young woman perplexed. The man took a quick look around. Fragments of the shattered door were strewn about. A young public security worker was lying unconscious nearby. And their Kirijo guest, who had ended without anyone noticing, held her in her hand a drawn sword.
I'd be shocked too if I were them.
It occurred to him that if normal people could sense the dark hour, the sudden change in circumstances may have seemed to them like some magic trick.
Excuse me, but this place is off limits to all unauthorized personnel. Hey, what's going on here?
The forensic staff looked at the man helplessly.
It's all right. We had a little emergency.
Oh.
That aside, halt all examination of the relics they brought in. We'll wait for further instructions from the Kirijo group.
Huh? But you said...
If there are any boxes that are closed, don't force them open. Not if you don't want to come face to face with monsters.
Leaving the frowning forensics team behind him, the man quickly went into the hallway with the Kirijo woman.
I have to thank you for your help. And about the conference, I'll join in as well. It's been arranged so nothing you say would get through to the higher-ups.
If the young woman was surprised at what amounted to a confession of betrayal, she didn't show it.
Are you saying you will reconsider your plans?
I can't overlook anything as serious as this. I wouldn't be doing my job as public security if I did. But make no mistake, the things I saw today are proof of the sins the Kirijo group has committed. They can't be punished under the law, but now that they're known, atonement will be made in some shape or form.
Indeed. I never intended anything less.
You really put one over on us this time.
Hmm?
Oh, there's no need to be coy. What happened today was no accident, was it? We'd never have believed the reports unless we saw it in person. That's why such a dangerous box had no lid. Am I wrong?
There was no lid. That's not possible. That box was classified as risk level 3. It should have been securely fastened.
The young woman fell silent, then gasped and gave the maid working silently beside her a look.
Kikuno.
The maid continued without a sign of remorse and left their master behind. Both the man and the young woman sighed at once.
Us guys in public security have a reputation for being tough. But it seems like you guys are no slouches yourselves.
The summit that was meant to be a perfunctory refusal took an unexpected turn. Promises were made to continue the talks. 6 months passed. After many opportunities to show the actual samples to the dignitaries were set up, the proposed special unit was established in mostly the form Kirijo requested. The Security Department's Shadow Response Unit. It was the inauguration of the special unit that would, in time, be nicknamed the Shadow Operatives. Yep, so there's the origin story for the Shadow Operatives, people. The Shadow Operatives have got their prologue. Indeed, the Shadow Operatives. I'm quite fond of the name. Not that I normally pay much heed to these things, but in this case I admit to being pleased. It started as sarcasm on the part of the higher-rank personnel from the police. It could be taken to mean those who deal with shadows, but the real meaning is those who operate in the shadows. Not only is the unit unofficial, we have the difficult-to-credit job of exterminating monsters. Mostly, I suspect it was a dig at a group that disturbed the expected peaceful years before the older personnel's retirement. But Shadow Operative could also mean one who does an indispensable, albeit unrewarded, job for society. It's a name truly befitting of this organization's goals. We're approaching the first anniversary of the Shadow Operative's establishment. Though we're still at the level of basic investigation and laying groundwork, it seems a full-scale case has arisen.
Fighting is not our first option, but I'd be more reassured with you there. We have a general idea of where it was taken, the Inaba area, where there were reports of suspected shadow activity last year.
Guess it is to hear from an old reliable friend. Our limit's to call the quick exchange of information.
I'll send you the precise location later. Sorry to call when you just returned from a trip, but I'm relying on your assistance.
I close my cell and turn toward my colleague.
He's only just returned and he's going directly to the location from the airport. Akihiko never changes.
Indeed he doesn't. Previously on the Swishbone playthrough of Persona 4 Arena there, people. The man I was on the phone with just now was Akihiko Sanada. He's one of our non-permanent staff. Akihiko is an excellent Persona user, but beyond that, he's a skilled boxer. He's a friend of mine from high school, who fought the shadows alongside me. I admire his strict determination to never neglect his training, but the extreme lengths he goes to can be rather inconvenient. After entering college, he accepted my invitation to one of the founding shadow operatives, but it was his actions afterward that were above and beyond. Sure, I'll join, but I'm going to use my strength professionally. I want to get my skills to a level I'm happy with first. Thus began his training expedition. He's not only wandering the country, he's traveling the entire world. I can't decide whether to be dumbfounded or impressed by his dedication to a training. All of this to say that he only just returned to Japan to take part in this operation. I give a wry smile and lean back in my chair. Seeing me relax, the girl watching nearby smiles. This is Aigis, known for her blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. She's a sweet girl on the outside, but she has what it takes to be an important member of our squad.
Will we be able to find Labyrinth? My sister?
Yep, there she is. She's got her suit uniform back. Business suit, I guess. When I look over at Aigis, her eyes are cast down with a weird, worried expression.
Will we be able to save her? Isn't that what you really want to ask?
She must have known once I called Akihiko in as backup. There is a possibility that we will have to fight Labyrinth. Knowing that, it's not a great leap to imagine in the worst case scenario, she may have to be destroyed. And it's true, alas. If all else fails and our safety is at risk with no way to stop her, that option is on the table.
Don't worry. As I mentioned to Akihiko, fighting Labyrinth is not our priority. The reason I formed this shadow operative team is to save lives. We will find her, whatever it takes, and bring her back. We can do this.
Yes. I'm sorry to be so pessimistic.
Those feelings you have for Labyrinth, you should tell her when you see her.
I will.
The monitor is showing certain data that is under multiple redundant encryptions. Kirijo Ergonomics Research Lab Confidential Matters. There is, in fact, a reason I'm reviewing these materials that are normally securely concealed. For 2 days ago, on May 1st, I was unexpectedly dragged into a serious incident. The passenger plane I was taking to Kagoshima was hijacked, when there hasn't been a domestic hijacking for 10 years. The top brass of the police, afraid to make any mistakes, sent in the shadow operatives. The case itself was resolved quickly and all the culprits arrested. None of the passengers were harmed either. But the hijacker's true motive wasn't terrorism or political demands, as one would expect. I was surprised to find they were after my cargo. It was a sealed box from the Ergonomics Research Lab that we were transporting to Yakushima on that flight. No one thought that the risky hijacking could have been in pursuit of just the cargo, and as a result, one of the objects was stolen. The arrested suspects are all in police custody, but none of them have any memory of carrying out any crime. Someone was pulling their strings, very probably using uncommon methods. Again, Persona 5 is not you! Considering that Puppet Master was targeting shadow-related cargo, I doubt they'll be easy to deal with. As for what was stolen, Aigis mentioned its name a moment ago. The 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, Labyrinth, is an older model from 2 generations ago. Since shadow-related ergo research documents were lost in an accident, we know little about Labyrinth. She is an android, most likely a female version just like Aigis. But instead of weapons loadout, she seems to have fitted with some kind of experimental equipment. That's all we know. Still, thanks to our collaborator's quick wit, the escaping vehicle was traced with the end system. It wasn't easy, but we managed to pinpoint its location. It was headed for the city of Inaba, where there may have been shadow activity last year. Once the preparations to depart are complete, I'll head there myself. My mind wanders a bit. Though I was unaware of them, The shadow of the sins committed in the Kirijo name is still so painful, 10 years on, and I sometimes want to avert my eyes. But now is not the time to be bound by the past. Now is the time to act. I suddenly notice that Aigis is staring at me worriedly. I give her a smile and stand up decisively. We're pulling up to Yasu Inaba, the central town of Inaba. Though it's the central town, the main street seems nearly deserted, and there's virtually no activity to be seen through the car windows. It was confirmed that the vehicle transporting Labyrinth is abandoned here. Our first move would be to confirm the situation. Or so I thought. I tend to ignore the rude stares of people trying to get a look inside the car, focusing instead on the scent of my tea. People keep crowding around when we park. We've had to move it a number of times already. We didn't get a moment's peace until the car reached the junkyard on the outskirts of town. As I try to keep from sighing, Aigis speaks up from her seat in front of me.
Mitsuru-san, our activities are supposed to be undercover, correct?
Yes.
For undercover missions, it will be necessary to keep all personnel and vehicles from being noticed.
Right.
Mitsuru-san, may I say something that I've been meaning to say for a while now?
No.
Mitsuru's like, shut it, I know. Don't go there.
Understood.
Aigis' poker face is perfectly blank, though I understand what she's getting at. I've actually wanted to say something along those lines to those around me for a while. Still, it would be galling to hear it from someone else just now.
All I told them was to give us a car with enough space.
Our contact has arrived.
The man approaching us is someone whose cooperation I specifically requested. His name is Detective Kurosawa. Before I can welcome him, Aigis speaks up.
Oh my. This was not our designated meeting area, yet he has discovered us.
You want to know how I did it?
Lately, it feels that whenever Aigis wants to voice her opinion to me, she unintentionally puts on the robot act. They mentioned this at the lab, that if Aigis still speaks in that stiff, formal manner, maybe she's getting too human and is developing habits, or she's doing it on purpose. Honestly.
We appreciate your cooperation, Detective Kurosawa.
Long time no see, miss. And Aigis, was it?
Indeed. It has been a while.
Detective Kurosawa was an officer at a police box near the school when we attended 3 years ago. He was shunned for cooperating with us and busted back down to an officer. But now that the shadow operators are officially recognized, he's in their good graces again, to the point where he dresses like a yakuza rather than a cop. Seriously, he's a bad guy, not a cop. A man who can be trusted beyond the confines of his station to solve a case, even goes so far as to bend the rules. He's a rare breed. Detective Kurosawa's expression is softened while he makes small talk with Aigis, which makes me realize that this may be the first time he's seen Aigis in her combat form.
I shouldn't make you stand while we talk. Please, get in.
Sorry. I haven't seen you in a while, so I had a lot to say.
He must understand that we are trying to be incognito. Though it's kind of to not point out our vehicle and attire are completely unsuited to that goal as he enters the limousine. He sits, and doesn't even wait to hear until the door is closed before getting to the point.
I found out quite a bit regarding the case you had me look into. First, I reviewed the report on the incidents from last year. One of the suspects mentioned the word persona.
So what went on here last year?
It's probably related, but I wasn't done there. Parts of this guy's testimony were even more outlandish. If you can take what's in the record at face value, it seems persona users can enter TVs within the Inaba region.
Enter TVs? What does that mean?
And yes, that is because Kurosawa, I reckon, is talking to an antagonist from earlier in Persona 4. I'm saying no more because I don't want to spoil that game for anyone who wants to play Persona 4 Golden on Steam, or the hardcore who have found a copy of the original Persona 4 on PS2 or PS3.
Just what it sounds like. You physically stick your body into the screen and go inside. He claimed there was another world in the TV, and dropping people inside it was the method behind last year's murders.
This all sounds rather absurd. I'm surprised it was included in the police report.
I got in touch with the detective in charge at the time and said the same thing. Apparently, the report was filed by a young partner of his at the time. He'd entertained the wildest testimonies like this one.
He sounds like quite the oddball.
If this was what really went on, the police would have had no chance cracking it. But that Detective Dojima is one shrewd guy. Even with all the supernatural hocus-pocus surrounding the case, he caught the culprit.
What I asked of him was to collect information about the serial murders that occurred in Inaba last year. The shadow operas aren't public knowledge, so I thought the local police would be more willing to speak with him, but the results surpassed my expectations. It was slightly frustrating to already run up against something I'm powerless to achieve myself.
That's all I have for you right now. I should be going. I doubt either of us has time to reminisce over the old days. It's funny though. I thought the fighting was over, but you guys surprise me every time I see you.
Thank you very much, Officer Kurosawa. Why don't we at least see you off?
Oh, that's all right. I've got my own car. I doubt my department would appreciate your tastes. If I ever showed up for work in something like this, I'd be the talk of the force until the day I retired.
Detective Kurosawa jokes with us before exiting the limousine, waving casually back at us. I had nothing to say to that as I watched him leave, rotating his shoulders to work out some kinks. Aigis, though, felt the need to comment.
Mitsuru-san, this could be bad. Our sense of social aptitude is in question.
Can't deny that.
What should we do now?
Yes. First, we'll need to test the claim that Persona users can enter TVs.
We are at a junkyard after all, and I can see a number of consumer electronics that have been discarded illegally. Aigis looks around and points at a certain pile as she gets out of the car.
There is a discarded TV over there. If the environment does not matter, we can use it to test the phenomenon.
Wait, Aigis.
Don't worry. I'm just going to touch it.
That's not what I was worried about. Aigis isn't wearing anything like a disguise, and... No, I'm overthinking this. We've already attracted enough attention. Even if we leave now without doing anything, our pictures could still end up on the internet. Let them gossip about the strange people in funny clothes. It'll become some urban legend. My mind made up, I step outside, wearing my special equipment. Once Aigis sees that I followed her, she gives a small nod and stretches her hand out toward the screen.
Amazing!
Her hand, it's inside the TV screen. But the screen itself seems undamaged. Aigis' hand is swallowed to her wrist, as if she put it in a bucket of water.
Interesting. It's exactly as the police report said. What's it like inside? Do you feel anything?
Not particularly. No, wait a moment. It's the same as mine. It's hard to say definitively since this is my first encounter with it, but I believe this reading is from a personality module.
This scene seems familiar, people. It seems like we're going back to replaying the start of Akihiko's story.
Does that mean our retrieval target is inside the TV?
Huh. Sounds like fun.
That voice from above. It sounds very familiar. But all I see in the direction from where it came is a man in an outlandish red cape. I hesitate for a moment. Could it be?
Is that Akihiko?
The man leaps from the stack of the tower of TVs like an acrobat.
You didn't show up at the rendezvous point, so I went looking and found you here. This whole TV thing is pretty interesting.
In spite of myself, I bury my face in my palm.
Akihiko, what on earth are you wearing? Just what were you doing overseas?
Didn't I tell you that I was on a training expedition?
Don't tell me you came here from the airport like that. Does the concept of keeping a low profile mean nothing to you?
Mitsuru-san, I believe we have lost the right to complain about that.
I can't give the same reaction having seen it before, but if you want to know, rewind the stream. That's it. I've never mentioned the subject of our appearances again.
Anyway, we can go inside from that TV, right? What are we waiting for?
Still the same Akihiko. We don't know the situation inside yet, and we'll need a secure means of getting out.
So what? If we want to get this Labyrinth back, someone has to go inside, right?
Well, that's...
Our target hijacked a plane to throw her into a TV in this town. If we sit on our hands, it's possible we'll be put in serious danger.
Akihiko's right. That's exactly why we've been trying to get as quickly as possible since this case began.
We're different from how we used to be. We made the choice to fight shadows as professionals. That's why I traveled around the world and trained harder than ever. And now that something's actually come up, you're hesitating? We agreed to do this. I'm ready to stake my life on the mission.
Recklessly unafraid to state his honest opinion. Classic Akihiko. He must understand that is his role. Certainly, there are times when I need such opinions, and it's been a while since he went abroad. I think I can understand his current mindset.
All right. Wait right here. I need to go make a phone call first.
Okay, but make it quick.
He doesn't have to tell me twice. I take out my phone and bring up the contact list. A world inside a TV. I don't know what it might be like in there, but I do know someone that could help us. I was originally going to ask for that help after Labyrinth was secure, but perhaps the time has come. Now I've taken all possible precautions. The rest is the test of our resolve. Ask for whose help? Who's she asked for? Does that mean there's more characters to unlock?
The other members will wait here in the car.
Yeah. If we all barge in and something happens, we'll be devastated.
Now that you mention it, at least one of us should be staying behind as well.
I am not staying.
Us three will be plenty. We'll end this in a flash. No problem.
The same as always. Although, we have no idea what might be waiting for us on the other side. Don't get careless.
Right.
This situation, it brings back memories.
Ready!
So, where does Mitsuru land, I wonder?
Why enter the TV? What's going on?
I'll say the animation in these cutscenes is better than the actual Persona 4 anime. I do recommend checking the Persona 4 anime out though if you haven't already. Ah, we're outside.
Where am I? Is this inside the TV?
I remember being enveloped in a white light, but what came afterwards is unclear. Is this the world inside the TV? Oddly enough, the sight before me seems to be the main gate of a school. The name engraved on the entrance plate is...
Yasagami High School. I do recall that name from our map of Inaba. An existing high school has been completely recreated inside the TV?
I then came to a realization. I've encountered something much like this before. It doesn't appear much different from reality as far as appearances, but it has that same distinctive, sticky atmosphere. The Labyrinth Tartarus that was our battleground 3 years ago. It bears a lot of similarity to this place.
Wait, where are the others? Akihiko! I guess.
Being separated won't do anything to further our mission. Perhaps I can use my communication power to get in touch with them.
I can't reach them through my persona either. This place is highly unusual.
It's still barely functioning, but the noise here is severe. I'll need to understand this world a little better and find a quiet place to concentrate. As I check my surroundings again for enemies, I hear the sound of footsteps. I tense, making myself ready for anything. But when I turn around, a uniformed girl stops, looking at me in bewilderment. Is this Labyrinth?
Huh?
Oh, it's Yukio. I didn't expect to meet someone else here, let alone a seemingly ordinary schoolgirl like this. Could her age and outfit be a connection to the theft of Labyrinth? But after the girl's surprise faded, she still seemed confused by my appearance. Seems that even here in another dimension, people are startled by my attire. Then why do you choose to wear it? At least her reaction allayed my suspicions. People reveal something of themselves when they're caught off guard. Anyone in the act of committing a crime couldn't fake being perplexed so naturally.
Did I surprise you? I suppose my outfit is somewhat unusual.
Oh, no.
Why are you here?
Well,
A loud cheer swells, cutting off all our conversation. There's definitely a crowd present here. I look around the area in confusion.
What? Where is that coming from?
The students appear one after another, clearly intrigued to see us here.
Huh? What's going on?
Before I can react, an image appears on the monitor, buried beneath the bizarre decorations.
Hello! Hello! This is General Teddy, your benevolent dictator!
And I, Rosette, am your commentator. It's time for the next round in the P1 Grand Prix. Are you ready to fight?
P1 Grand Prix? Fight?
Suddenly, on the one in the ridiculous costume's queue, smoke pours out around us. The spotlight shines from somewhere directly upon me. I instinctively raise my arm to shield my eyes from the harsh light. It feels like I'm being displayed for an audience.
And who do we have for Yuki-chan's opponent this time? Ooh! It's a mysterious, beautiful lady! How unexpected!
Teddy? What's wrong?
Do you know that bear?
The monitor showing the one in costume calling himself General Teddy suddenly fuzzes over with static. The static gets worse and worse, until an eerily expressionless bear costume that looks as though it forgot how to make facial expression appears on screen. The voice is the same as before, but his tone is harsh and mechanical now.
Case 04, unintended intruder. Entering elimination process.
What is that supposed to mean? What's going on?
As soon as the abnormality registers, I feel the bizarre noises like someone scratching against my whole body. Was that some kind of attack? It didn't seem to have any effect on me, but the girl standing beside me underwent quite a change.
You. Who do you think you are, showing up alone like this? It's no use trying to talk your way out of it. There's nothing to discuss. You don't even try to understand anyone anyway. If you want to wall yourself off from everyone, I'll be happy to end your lonely life here.
The girl's face distorts with hatred as she spits her words at me. It's a far cry from her earlier demeanor. It's as if she's a completely different person. And that's not all. Understandably, she seemed not to know me before, but now she speaks as if she does. What is this? Could it be the effect of the noise I sense?
You won't be so smug for long. Come, Konohana Sakuya.
A persona?
The girl spreads her fan in her hand. With a flash of light, a persona manifests. How careless of me. I should have accounted for this possibility as soon as I saw her in this world.
We won't be settling this peacefully, I see. In which case...
I ready my evoker and concentrate.
To me, Artemisia.
Power rises from within me and the sensation of my limbs tells me that my persona has emerged. But my hand holding the evoker is still at my side. My persona, Did it just appear without the use of my evoker to trigger it? Did I summon it only by thinking? Theoretically, one doesn't need an evoker to summon one's persona. I didn't have one the day my persona first manifested, and I've done without one several other times as well. But never before have I summoned it so easily without any special concentration. It's as if my consciousness is reaching far beyond the boundaries of my body. By way of analogy, it feels like being able to control the wind with my fingertips. Could it be because this world is special? The girl's voice brings it back to the situation at hand. Which reminds me, the girl doesn't seem to use any special implements to summon a persona either.
Persona user. Fine. I still won't lose.
Sorry, but I won't be defeated either.
The Empress versus the Priestess. Just hit it with Marin Karin. Or Tantra Fu. So let's see what this is like. So I'm expecting this to be quite annoying.
Finally!
Yuzuka Senpai and her fans are taking the stage! What a devastating blow! Can they turn this into a victory? Smashing the stage around the way! The opponent's still standing! Dangerous! In the end, the victor was no surprise!
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, Avian. Your comment there about the appearance of people using the evoker was cut out. Many people to this day still think that's a reason why they've not remastered Persona 3. Except it can't be true, because Makoto is a downloadable content fighter that you can go up against in Persona 5 Royal, and he still uses the evoker. So it can't be that. That's not the reason. Once the battle ends, the monitor nearby switches on.
An irregularity has occurred. Multiple intruders detected. Emergency. Intruders are persona users. Due to difficulties in elimination, they will be acknowledged as valid targets.
He obviously refers to myself and the others. When you say her, Avian, what are you herring at? Does he mean that he's going to adjust his tactics for dealing with us to our various strengths? I say it wasn't. The idea was good. The idea was that you had to overcome fear of death. That's the whole point of the doing what you do with the evoker. The idea is to overcome fear of death, and that allows you to summon your persona. But as I say, the switching to the tarot that they used in Persona 5 and Persona 4 was a lot more realistic. The way he said that seems like a bad omen.
Valid targets.
I understand that we're considered to be intruders, but what did he mean by that? It seems like we're part of a tournament now, but what was the enemy's original plan? The monitor's screen fuzzes again. Once more it shows the costumed person as he originally appeared. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason they've not done a remaster for it is just, I don't know, Atlas don't like money, I guess. I can't think of any other reason.
Gee, you need to let me know if you want to get in on the fun. But this is a unique situation, and you're one hot mama,
Oh.
so I'll make an exception.
Oh.
Just keep putting on a good show in your next bout, too.
Who are you? Why don't you take off that strange costume and show your face?
Hey now, I don't think a lady walking around in a cat suit like yours can talk to me about my bear suit.
Is it a cat suit?
Enough with the questions. Move on.
Again, yet another person hung up on my outfit. Ugh, it's unlike me to let the enemy's words get under my skin. Ah, you like McCall then, did you, Avian? McCall was a cool character. He got away with murder, though, it must be said. I still don't know how he got away with that situation at the Culture Fest. I don't know how he survived. The man switches off with those cheeky words.
Is that costume thing the one who stole Labyrinth? If so, then what's the purpose of this bizarre tournament? Fine. I'll get a read on your location.
I quickly get my communicator and my persona. Some personas are more suited to operational support than direct combat. In my case, though, that power is secondary. We normally have a persona user who specializes in that role, but with some specialized equipment, I can get by. I focus my consciousness and send it drifting through the surrounding area. The enemy must think he's keeping an eye on us, but he'll learn soon enough that he's not the only one with a bird's eye view of the situation. But before the layout of this place becomes clear, an unexpected change occurs around me. The moment I use my power, noise runs through the students that have been speculating. In an instant, they turn into something like silhouettes that barely have human shapes. It seems their true colors have been exposed. Are they not human?
What? Were they shadows? If they were, I don't sense any hostility from them. Were they just set dressing that thing in the costume prepared?
Apparently, this disturbance isn't so serious that the large crowd that cheering implied was made up entirely of people who entered the TV, which leads to the mystery, but it may be best to consider it a blessing.
In any case, it appears that apart from this girl here, none of those students were real.
The girl who had collapsed on the floor is coming around. I release my persona and rush over to help her up. I wasn't fighting to my fullest, so she shouldn't be suffering from any real wounds. There are many mysteries surrounding this girl. She seems to be more than just an associative one in the bear costume. The moment the girl sees me, she jumps back like a startled animal. Her speech is flustered, and her face a bright, blushing red. There are tears in her eyes.
How come you knew about that?
About what?
That was private. I never even told anyone at the inn about that. I can't believe someone I've never even met before knew.
The girl covers her reddened face in shame. I try and think back to what I said to her. Did I point out anything that would cause such a reaction? One detail jumps out at me. When the girl's manner of speech shifted before our battle, it wasn't just her personality that abruptly changed. Though we had just met, she talked as if she knew more than she should about my past.
That reminds me. That noise I sensed earlier is gone.
Yet the girl before me now no longer bears any of the senseless animosity from before.
It seems to have been some kind of interference from the enemy. Come to think of it, that bear was egging us on. The interference must have been to ensure two total strangers would fight. General Teddy, was it? He looked comical enough, but he certainly put an elaborate scheme in motion.
No! How could Teddy...
She seems to have finally calmed down and continues muttering with a perplexed expression.
You know the one in costume, I take it?
Oh, I know him very well. He's usually not like this at all.
I take the girl's hand and again help her to her feet.
I'm Mitsuru Kirijo. I've come here in search of a unique object. Why don't we start over? If you don't mind, I'd like to hear a little about yourself.
Yes. Oh, my name's Yukiko Amagi. I'm sorry for losing my composure just now.
So, Amagi, why did you come to this world?
Where to start? So many strange things happened over the last year.
At first glance, she looks like an ordinary student, so why is she here inside the TV? Amagi briefly summarized her recent past to me in an even tone of voice. According to her, this world was prominent in a serial murder case last year. She and her friends eventually awakened their personas while investigating the case. At the case's conclusion, the world formed by people's thoughts returned to its original state. Now that this contradicts what I learned from Detective Kurosawa.
A realm inside a TV, formed by people's thoughts. It sounds absurd, but that would explain the incongruity I sensed when I used my persona.
We thought the case had been solved, but lately there's been another strange program on the air. My friends and I couldn't ignore that, so we came back here.
Your friends? Are there others here besides yourself?
Yes, I was with 3 other people, but we got separated when we entered. The one in costume and the girl who called herself Rosette are friends of ours too. But they're acting so strangely.
So this is not the way they generally behave, then?
I could tell from Amagi's reactions that normally she trusts those two implicitly. Considering what the enemy did to her earlier, could they be under its control as well? Either way, it sheds no light on the theft of Labyrinth. How are they related? Or is this incident only a coincidence?
There's one more thing I'm curious about. Have you ever heard the name Labyrinth?
Labyrinth? No, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. What is it?
It's the thing I'm searching for. What makes it problematic is that I know nothing of its appearance. Honestly, I'm not sure it has anything to do with this disturbance. Though I can't write it off completely as irrelevant.
Though it appears that there is no connection, whoever went so far as to hijack a plane to steal Labyrinth brought her all the way here. No matter how I look at it, that means something.
Anyway, thank you for your cooperation. I understand the situation better now. We should stay together going forward.
Whoa! Think again, ladies!
General Teddy suddenly appears on the screen to interrupt our conversation.
Only the winner of each bout can go on. That's rule number 1 in the Grand Prix.
How exactly can that rule be enforced? As if to answer my unspoken question, Amagi makes an odd gesture.
There's nothing here, but I can feel something. A wall, maybe? Wait, but Mitsuru-san could...
Amagi looks at me expectantly. I take a tentative step and walk through this place where she claims there's a wall.
Like I said, you're stuck there until the tournament's over. Only winners get to go. Come on, miss. You won. So it's time to barrel forward to the next stage.
Shut the fuck up! I must leave the girl in this strange world then. Though I'm uneasy about doing so. Amagi seems to read my thoughts and smiles.
Thank you, but I'll be alright. I fought shadows for an entire year too. I can protect myself.
I see. In that case, I'll press on and do my best to rescue your friends.
If you see them, please tell them I'm alright and they shouldn't worry about me. You be careful too, Mitsuru-san.
Amagi smiles resolutely. She's a very strong girl.
Alright, I'll pass that along.
I nod, acknowledging her wishes and turn my back to walk away.
Not only do they tamper with our minds, they prevent us from leaving until the tournament is settled. It may not necessarily ruin friendships, but there's no way forward than to fight one another. What a loathsome trick. It seems the mastermind is intent on us fighting each other.
I grit my teeth in anger. Amagi's clear eyes remain in my heart. This operation, it's no longer just to retrieve Labyrinth. I make a silent vow as I go. Everyone who has been dragged into this must be rescued.
Another dead end.
As I step into the school, I realize that these invisible walls are everywhere, blocking off routes that seem open to the naked eye. Why is the thief who stole Labyrinth gathering persona users in this world? Not having a clear idea of their motivations is aggravating my anxiety. I guess Akihiko may have been dragged into this Grand Prix as well. If so, we need to compare notes. If all goes well, we may figure out the location of the mastermind behind this that I failed to grasp earlier. After quickly confirming that there are no shadows nearby, I link my communicator with my persona. I focus my consciousness and send it drifting throughout the surrounding area.
Hurts. So lonely.
What was that?
The presence is faint, and I can't tell where it is. Yet I could definitely hear a voice. It seems I could sense it because of my secondary support capabilities, but when I focus harder, it doesn't seem that they're trying to communicate with me. It's more like the words, and the intense emotions behind them are seeping out of the room itself, perhaps even from all around me. Eventually, the voice becomes clearer.
I'm scared. I'm alone. It hurts. Why? Why won't anyone listen?
I don't recognize the voice. Perhaps one of Amagi's friends.
I didn't ask to be born a machine. How come no one understands? What's the difference between normal people's hearts and mine?
So the machine doesn't know, is doubting its ability to be human.
A machine? Is that Labyrinth?
I stand up and try calling her.
Labyrinth! Are you nearby? Answer me!
But there is no answer. It seems that it's not because the voice's owner is nearby that I can hear her. It's subtly different from hearing voices with one's own ears. It's true. I focus my senses once again, but I still can't tell exactly where it's coming from. Not yet having a thorough command of the layout here makes it harder to pinpoint. Eventually, the voice fades. Only silence remains.
Going by what she said, that had to have been Labyrinth. Sounds as if her heart has developed further than we thought.
Even Aegis, the latest model, required a lot of time and experience to develop the heart she has. So then why does Labyrinth, who's been sealed from her development up to now, have such an advanced heart?
I didn't ask to be born a machine. It pains me to hear that.
The anti-shadow suppression weapons. Both Aegis and Labyrinth were created as insurers for dangerous shadow experimentations, in case the subject should go berserk. The only thing that could stand up against the shadow was a persona, and being able to control one is an absolute necessity when dealing with shadows. Thus they were given hearts, in order to be able to induce their ability to use personas. But a weapon that has a heart contradicts itself. It was natural for Aegis to face that contradiction, and it caused her serious anguish in the past.
We can't allow victims like her to be tormented by sins of the past, whether they're human or not.
Newly resolved, I press on. And we end up where exactly? I continue through the school, still unable to contact Aegis or Akihiko. The invisible walls seem to be leading me towards a gym. Is this where she faces Chie? Compared to the one back at Gekkokan High, this one is rather modest, but the chairs stacked up to unusual heights and the monitors everywhere give it an eerie air. Ah, the monitor is switching on again. But this time, it's not showing General Teddy. How strange. This appears to be a commercial for a fighting event.
What in the...
A succession of young men and women are introduced as participants. Sorry, Avian, you've been denied again. One of them I recognize as Amagi.
They're wearing the same uniforms as Amagi. I assume these are the friends she spoke of.
All of them are introduced with horrible epithets, but the Amagi I met in person was a completely different, sophisticated girl. I suppose the enemy made up all the taglines. Just as Amagi's introduction ends, the video suddenly turns off, and General Teddy's face appears on screen.
I had to completely rejigger the bracket to accommodate 3 new contestants. Jeez.
3 new contestants. Myself, Akihiko, and Aegis?
On the other paw, a tournament's more exciting with more people in it.
On the other paw. Fucking seriously.
But getting back on track, allow me to introduce your next opponent.
When I enter, someone who had already been there turns around. His face. It was on the video a moment ago.
Huh? There's people besides us here?
You're...
Holy crap, she's smoking hot. The thing she's wearing doesn't hurt either.
Typical Yosuke.
You were in that video just now. What was it they called you? Captain Ressentiment?
How come you remember that stupid title and not my real name? Figures I need a knockout like this, and she already knows about that. God, I wish I was dead!
Apparently, the epithets from the video hit a sore point with the people featured. The nickname left more of an impression than his real name, so it just slipped out. At that moment, General Teddy appears again on one of the larger monitors inside the gym.
How do you like your opponent?
Why are you making us fight? What benefit do you derive from this nonsense?
So many questions. I just want you all to suffer. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that fun?
That's what this is about? No. If Labyrinth is involved, there's more to it, isn't there?
Enough jibba jabba. Hurry and start the fight. Look at your opponent. He's ready, see?
The General's smirk strikes me as incongruous. It's the same as that time with Amagi. As I glare at the monitor, thinking that more interference is at work, I hear unexpectedly bitter words.
Yeah, Teddy's right. I mean, you're the one who barged in here. Man, who'd come to such a dangerous place without hesitating? You really are an ice queen. I bet you don't have many friends, huh?
It's happening again. The moment that noise kicks in, not only does my opponent's personality change, they begin speaking of things they shouldn't know about. It's exactly like what happened with Amagi.
You talk as if you know me.
Stop acting so calm and changing the subject. You seem like you don't know much about this world, so how do you plan to get out? Don't tell me you rushed in here with no escape plan. Oh man, seriously? You're nuts. People like you who obsess over responsibility and put all the burden on yourselves, you annoy the hell out of me.
It doesn't matter how others perceive me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Isn't that because you don't trust anyone?
We clearly can't have a normal conversation with the enemy's interference, but even knowing that, I catch myself trying to argue his point. The heavy responsibility I suffer is mine alone. If I share it with someone, that means that suffering will also be shared. That is why I try to be self-sufficient. The more I care about someone, the less I'm willing to rely on them. But isn't that no better than not believing in them? I've been caught in that trap before too. Maybe I still haven't truly escaped it. But how could he guess my private distress, one that I barely confided to others before?
I was supposedly an unexpected intruder. What's going on?
What are you mumbling about? Well, let me ease your mind. I'll end everything for you. Let's do this, Jiraiya!
Yosuke-senpai! Beat up that shady lady! Let the fight begin!
I can see there'll be no talking sense with him like this. There's nothing for it then. Artemisia!
Yeah, it's an interesting point of view, and yeah, so the more you know someone, the more you should be able to rely on them. That's how I'd view it, anyway. But it's got that kind of isolated sense of perspective, maybe. That's all I can assume.
Finals.
A tremendous roll already. This will be good.
Not much you can do with that kind of move.
The battle for the sun looks like an opportunity's come up. In the end, the victor was no surprise.
Yes, we're going to button mash our way to success, people. That's what's going to happen here.
Aw, you're so useless, Yosuke-senpai. Unfortunately, the party crasher wins.
The girl in the PA system is rather casual with her insults. Soon after, General Teddy appears on the monitor.
You're so strong, miss. I can barely believe how gorgeous and powerful you are.
I agree, Avian. Yeah, it's like you don't want to burden people with problems, but obviously the more you share them, the more you can cope with them. Half the time you don't realise what you're missing in terms of getting something sorted out.
It seems they're not provoking us only to have us fight one another. And their method, is it more like an illusion they're casting over us, rather than some sort of mind control?
Still trying to figure everything out? Switch your brain off and enjoy the Grand Prix already!
Sorry, but I'm not some savage who enjoys the suffering of others. And don't call me Miss. My name is Mitsuru Kirijo.
Kirijo?
You've toyed with us, and I don't take that lightly. I'll make you pay for what you've done. You better be prepared for that.
I like the fact that the moment Mitsuru mentioned Kirijo, the yellow wires come on the General Teddy.
Kirijo!
The moment he hears my voice, the face of the bear costume distorts into a mask of hate.
You're the one who should be prepared! I'll never let you stop me!
The broadcast ends after he flings those words at me.
I mentioned my name on purpose. He reacted as strongly to the name Kirijo as I thought he would.
I still don't know anything for certain, but I'm increasingly sure that General Teddy is related to the circumstances surrounding Labyrinth.
At first, I thought I'd stumbled into an irrelevant side incident, but evidently not. We were meant to come here.
Just then, the young man behind me slowly gets to his feet.
Ah, you're awake.
It seems now that the battle is settled, the interference causing us both to seem odd has vanished. Hanamura cringes away, frightened. I can't help but shrug.
My. Amagi reacted the same way. Were the things that the illusory me said that harsh?
Oh, you bet. Wait, what? Illusory? And did you just say Amagi? You meant Yukiko?
Yes, before I came here. I was forced to fight her, quite against my will.
I explained the situation to him. I also add that she shared information with me on last year's case. That should help prove I did encounter Amagi. Just on the off chance, I asked Hanamura about Labyrinth, but he seems not even to know the name. Once we finish speaking, he stands up and places his hand in the air as if touching something there.
Only the winner can move on, huh? I'm the only one who can feel this invisible wall thing, so I guess it's true.
I'm glad you understand. I was worried you'd doubt me since I'm a complete stranger.
Well, you didn't seem like someone who'd try and trick me. I mean, what's the point? I've lost now, so I can't go anywhere.
Indeed. You're very pragmatic.
The young man wastes away my compliment.
Nah, after what I went through last year, I just got used to coming smack up against insane stuff in this world. And Yukiko, my friend you met, she believed in you. So I don't mind trusting you too.
I see.
I can't help myself from smiling. Their bond seems to be real. I do somewhat envy the way they trust each other without a doubt. That could never have happened unless they'd overcome the same trials together.
I'd like your opinion on something. What do you think is the objective of this tournament? That General Teddy said it was all in fun, but I doubt it's anything so simple.
I've been wondering the same thing, but I don't know. But you know, it might not just be Teddy behind it. I met this weird girl earlier.
A weird girl?
She was about my age, and she said she was the student council president. It was like she had no idea that she was inside the TV world. That doesn't seem very likely, does it?
No, I doubt one could be unaware of such things. It's possible that she didn't come here of her own will.
This may be a school now, but it doesn't always look like this. When normal people who don't have personas come in here, the world changes to reflect what they're thinking of. It happened every time a victim was dumped into a TV last year. Maybe this time she's the victim. Even if she means well, she still could have a lot to do with the tournament.
Girl.
Judging from the state of affairs, I'm beginning to think that the girl in question is Labyrinth. Since Hanamura doesn't know the details of my mission, it wouldn't occur to him what I'm searching for is a humanoid weapon with a heart.
What did this girl look like? Did anything about her stand out?
Huh? No, not really. She wore the same uniform as the rest of us.
A uniform?
Considering how Aigis looks, it's possible that Labyrinth's appearance is quite close to a human. What does it mean that she's completely able to pass as a human? Even Aigis has to wear clothes that cover her entire body in order for her to walk around town. Yet Labyrinth wears the same uniform as them? Chalk up another unsolved mystery, I suppose. But after talking with Hanamura, it does feel like I'm starting to understand the bigger picture here.
I see. Thank you. I'm getting a clearer picture of what's going on. I'm sorry, but I can't stay and chat. I should be leaving now.
Oh, wait a sec. Can I ask you a favor? Can you look after my other friends too? It sucks, but I can't get to them from here. That Teddy's really not a bad guy either. Sure, he eats my ice cream without asking and stuff, but
I could totally see him doing that as well, the cheeky fucker.
he's not the type of guy who'd get off on watching people hurt each other. There's gotta be some other explanation.
Don't worry. I was already thinking along similar lines. What we saw was an illusion. It may be that they're faced with the same situation. I'll save everyone who's been dragged into this, including your friends, and this student council president.
Thanks. Just hurry before someone else dies in here.
Hanamura's expression, which had previously been bright, albeit desperate, darkens noticeably. From all I've heard, last year's shadow incident revolved around serial murders. It may be that he lost someone as well. To fight desperately, but lacking the power to make a difference, and being forcibly parted from loved ones. I understand that pain all too well.
That must sound pretty lame, losing the fight and then making a lot of demands.
Not so. Your concern for your friends in a situation like this. C'est magnifique.
What?
I sensed it when speaking to Amagi too, but you all seem to have very strong wills. I promise to do what I can to help.
The emotions he seems to view as a weakness are actually a strength. I'm sure that with a little more experience he'll come to realize that. He'll see how difficult it is to hold on to that will, and how valuable it is to have friends he can share it with. Since I am the one who'll be moving on, I'm responsible for the duties he entrusted to me. As if sensing my determination, Hanamura's expression turns serious, and he nods. After parting with Hanamura, I once again proceed through the school. The invisible walls continue to bar my path. Undoubtedly, the enemy is leading me exactly where he wants me.
Is there no end to this?
The rules of the P1 Grand Prix are powerfully enforced. I try to see if I could destroy one of these walls, but it doesn't seem as though I can. Maybe if I used all my strength, but in that case, I'd be at a disadvantage in my next fight. Either way, it didn't seem worth the trouble. I strayed from the suggested route on purpose and opened one of the classroom doors. And I'm guessing it's Akihiko. I sense no enemies here. And it doesn't look likely that I'll run into the next opponent here either. It should be safe here. Once again, I link my communicator with my persona. This time, unlike before, my senses cleanly and smoothly spread onward. I sense one, no, two familiar reactions.
Akihiko and Aigis. They both seem to be okay.
First, I focus my senses to contact Aigis, who's closer by.
Can you hear me, Aigis?
Mitsuru-san, I am relieved to finally hear from you. Is Akihiko-san with you?
No, we were separated, but I've confirmed his safety. I'm sure he won't be defeated that easily.
Aigis laughs upon hearing my
Let's
words.
exchange information while we can.
I give her a simple outline of the current situation. I mention the students that were drawn here. My suspicions that this Grand Prix mastermind is almost certainly related to Labyrinth, and what I've learned of a girl who I'm assuming to be Labyrinth.
I saw that girl a moment ago, though I lost sight of her when the invisible walls blocked my path.
I've been told she looks more human than you. Is that possible?
Not only that, she was almost indistinguishable from a normal person. I couldn't believe it either. Yet I definitely sensed a personality module. I don't believe there's any mistake that she is Labyrinth.
I see.
There's no doubt that General Teddy has strong ties to Labyrinth and the Kirijo group. But this girl, whom we believe to be Labyrinth, is apparently walking around unconstrained. If he can set this many walls, it should be easy for him to capture her too.
Don't worry about meeting up for now. Under the present conditions, we'd only end up fighting amongst ourselves.
Understood.
I don't know how Labyrinth ties into this situation yet, but be careful. Hello? I lost her.
Aigis' voice trails off as my connection to her dies out again. I wonder if the enemy noticed our conversation and took preventative measures. Though the voice I'm hearing now definitely isn't General Teddy's.
Ain't there some other way? If there was, then...
That's the same voice from before. Labyrinth, is that you?
It's happening again. The voice reaches me through my persona ability, but I had the strangest sensation about it. I get the impression that the voice is seeping out of this place itself.
Why are you laughing? What about this is funny?
Who is she addressing?
I don't want to fight him anymore!
That reminds me. Hanamura said that the environments here are formed by the thoughts of those who enter this world. Could these be Labrys's innermost thoughts? Is that why everything about this place radiates her feelings?
What do you think we are?
For a moment, I experienced not just a voice, but a powerful wave of emotions. They bombarded me through my persona senses. A strong sadness, confusion, despair. Despair? I can't help but fall to my knees, though nothing is assaulting me directly. How can I describe this weight? One possible explanation crosses my mind.
She's not addressing anyone. These are her memories. I see. So that's what's going on.
I think back to what General Teddy said, that making people suffer is fun. Well, no worries, Evian. You gotta finish up at work, get it all dealt with, and then you can enjoy a nice relaxing weekend. It's almost there. In touching distance. I dismissed it as a barbaric desire worth thinking about too deeply. But in truth, what kind of horrors would someone have to go through to emerge with such a stunted perspective?
I'm finally beginning to see the relationship between this tournament and Labyrinth.
In any case, I must proceed on and learn anything. I redouble my resolve and begin walking again. The monitor suddenly turns on, showing a smirking General Teddy.
What are you getting so sentimental for? The Grand Prix's not over yet!
Then you intend to continue this meaningless farce.
I'll decide what's meaningless or not! Bring out the next challenger!
As soon as the General shouts, smoke gushes out, obstructing my view. It seems he isn't willing to listen to reason at all. Not that I expected otherwise. Who will I be forced to fight this time? I strain my eyes to see through the smoke. Here comes Narakami, I'm thinking. It looks like it's...
You?
Oh, it's Naoto. I remember that face. Naoto Shirogane. He was the one present as a police observer when Labyrinth was being transported to Yakushima. It was thanks to his quick thinking that we discovered Labyrinth had been taken to Inaba. If our trip hadn't been disrupted by the hijacking, he might still be with us in Yakushima. But why is he here?
This is a problem. I didn't think we'd run into each other so soon. Is this another illusion? No. I can see that it isn't. Why are you here? I'll answer that question later. It would be best to say as little as possible for now.
With that, the young man lifts a finger to his lips in a gesture to remain silent. Directly afterwards, that staticky sensation runs through my body. It's then that I understand what he meant. Once again, this noise will prevent us from understanding each other properly. He's probably also noticed the effect at work. Nothing we say right now could be called conversing. If we both understand that, neither of us needs to take what the other says personally. That's why he called for temporary silence. It's an amazing assessment, given the brief time in which he had to make it. Before long, as expected, the young man before me undergoes a complete attitude reversal.
Seriously, such impatience handling the grunt work yourself like this. Isn't micromanaging like this the style of an incompetent leader? One who can't see the bigger picture?
This isn't how he truly feels. I say nothing.
The silent treatment, huh? That's fine. I understand perfectly. You don't believe in people. Not a single one. You have friends and allies, but believing in them is a different thing. I suspect you'll never break down that wall. Shall I say it for you? You're actually scared to. The notion of growing attached to something and losing it scares you so much that you'll share nothing truly important to you. Even if you want to believe in your friends, you can't. That's not true.
After the words slip from my mouth, I realize that the argument is futile.
Of course it is. Why not simply admit it? In truth, you have your hands full just expiating your family's sins. You don't need the added burden of others placing their lives in your hands. Isn't that how you really feel? No!
The young man smirks as ridiculing my inability to stop myself from responding to his allegations, despite knowing the futility of doing so. But the smirk only helps me to regain my composure. The real Shirogane would never make that face. This is only an illusion.
There's no use continuing this. Not until I eliminate this irritating mirage.
So, we're up against Naoto. Which makes sense, actually, because I think this is how Naoto's story ended, so I should have remembered that. But I wasn't paying attention, like an idiot.
Finally!
Here I go. Okay. Taking aim. See, running into it.
Yep, I know that move. I've used it multiple times. What a way to finish. Well, to finish with that Florian combo was pretty damn cool, actually. I got a cool ending from that one. I turn towards the monitor on the assumption that General Teddy will appear to mark us. But for some reason, this time he doesn't. I'm not sure why, but it at least allows us time to calmly talk things over. I look towards the young man once again.
Am I getting through to you now?
Yes. The same goes for me, I presume. It seems we were spellbound until the fight began, as we both suspected. They disrupted our communications to drive a wedge between us and make us fight. Though it's a mystery to me as to where it draws such personal slights for the illusions before us. I agree.
He seems to bear no animosity, he is willing to discuss things. But to be honest, I'm not sure where we stand. Why is he here? I can think of several possible explanations, but if he secretly followed us in, his canineness might prove dangerous. He gives a sudden wry smile, as if sensing my reluctance and trying to assuage it.
There's no need to be cagey. I don't intend to dodge whatever questions you have. You were probably wondering 3 things when you saw me here. First, how did I enter this world? Second, what am I doing in Inaba? And third, if I came here looking for you, what are my true intentions?
No wonder you've made a name for yourself as a detective. You're correct on all counts.
The first answer is easy. You know now that I can use a persona, allowing me access to the TV world. As for the second, there's no great mystery why I would come to Inaba. I live here.
You wouldn't happen to be acquainted with Amagi and Hanamura?
You've met my senpai?
Your friends. I gather that you're comrades who fought alongside each other during the serial murder case last year. I assume you entered the TV together for the same reason they did, and found yourself dragged into this mess as well.
Whatever doubts I may have about them, it seems they're here because we dragged them into this. I'm not very comfortable with that.
If so, I must apologize to you. No doubt you already know, but the object we seek has been brought to this world. It's most likely the cause of this disturbance. Whoever learned of this world's existence must have thought it would be useful in whatever their scheme.
You apologizing to me?
Shirogane shrugs with a wry smile.
Are you so sure you can trust me? You have no guarantee that I'm telling the truth. And there's still the answer to your third question to consider. I haven't yet told you my true motives.
Fair enough. But if you're friends with Amagi and Hanamura, I feel I can trust you. Their bonds with their friends are real.
Perhaps I lied about that too.
But then why would you bring it up? No, you're no villain. That's what my intuition tells me.
You aren't at all the person I thought you'd be.
I'll take that as a compliment.
His smile suggested it was meant as one. It makes him look his age or even younger. I can't help but smile myself at the idea that he's not exactly the hardened detective I'd imagined him to be.
The Teddy who appeared on that monitor is not our friend. He's an imposter.
You have proof of this?
I found the real Teddy. Our enemy can fog both our eyes and ears. It's possible they can make themselves look like someone else. I see. But I still don't know why they chose to take on Teddy's appearance.
Upon hearing this, I sigh and close my eyes.
It might be to make you all suffer. If they led you to believe your friend betrayed you, it would make this all the more painful.
There's some truth to that, but it seems too simple a motive to warrant this elaborate of a disturbance.
He's wrong. If the motive is somehow connected to Labyrinth's memories, what had been incomprehensible becomes completely understandable. My conclusion must have shown that from my face, since Shirogane trails off in understanding. At that moment came something like a touch. It's a sensation I hadn't felt since entering this world, but I know this feeling. It's the effect of being brushed by a persona's informational support powers.
This feeling. Rise-san! Rise-san, can you hear me?
Naoto-kun? So you ended up here too?
The voice that echoes is much like the voice I heard over the PA system, but it seems quite different. The announcement must have been part of the culprit's tricks. This Rise's voice immediately turns quavery.
I'm so glad. Ever since this weird fake Teddy kidnapped me, I've been all alone. The others are fighting each other too.
It's all right. Just calm down and tell me where you are.
I think it's the announcement room. It's kind of off though. There are these invisible walls around and I can't get out. The fake Teddy was watching me until a moment ago, so I couldn't use my persona.
She seems to have been under the General's close watch, limiting her chances to use her persona until now. As soon as the General steps out for a moment, she sees the opportunity to contact Shirogane.
You're in the announcement room now, yes? I'm headed straight there, so stay put.
Huh? Who's that? Why can I hear your voice but not sense you?
She sounds extremely confused. I had temporarily forgotten my equipment prevents me from being detected by persona abilities to an extent. I prepared it after facing an enemy with similar powers once before. It works by making my presence difficult to detect unless they know me well and recognize my signature. Shirogane senses her confusion as well and introduces me to her. His introduction is accurate, yet concise. I can see he's a first-rate detective.
Mitsuru Kirijo. Wait, Kirijo? Are you that Kirijo?
Yes, that's correct.
The CEO?
Not quite. I am the founding family's...
You hired me for a commercial before. Oh, good. Thank you very much for your patronage.
That's all that matters.
A commercial?
Oh, yes. I'm Rise Kuchikawa. I'm a classmate of the others you met, but I'm also kind of a starlet, and, it's hard to explain.
Rise-san, that can wait. There's no knowing when our adversary will return.
Oh, all right.
Kuchikawa said that she was captured, but why would they treat her differently?
I suspect it was to block communication. If we could speak freely as we just did, their whole scheme would collapse. Ah, so that's why Teddy and Rise-san were the hosts.
What do you mean?
The real Teddy has a similar power. That's why those two were taken separately. Not only that, but by acting as the two who had disappeared, the enemy thought it could portray them as traitors. Though it appears that Teddy managed to escape on his own somehow.
How come I'm the only one fake Teddy is watching over personally? Sheesh.
You have the most powerful investigative persona. They must have had to take greater pains with you.
I think we're keeping this going too long. We've exchanged what we know already, so I'm gonna shut down the comms link. Be careful, you guys.
I face Shirogane once again.
We are responsible for this case. Rescuing the ones who've been dragged into it is part of our mission. Besides, she's another of your friends, isn't she? All the more reason for me to go save her.
He makes a small gesture as if searching for the right words. After taking some time to make up his mind, he looks me in the eye once more.
You're quite prepared for this. It would be unfair of me not to tell you everything. Please hear me out. The reason I came here was to...
You're a real straight arrow.
I cut him off intentionally.
You're very proud to be a detective, no? I can see it in your eyes. You would never sell out your beloved justice. If you've done nothing to be ashamed of, that makes us even. I haven't been entirely forthright with you either.
Kirijo-san. It seems I still have much to learn.
Despite what I said, I can make an educated guess as to his motives. He's a persona user. That means the police selected as their observer someone with the potential. If his only task is to watch over the transfer, there'd be no need to send a persona user. Leading me to believe that he's been asked to secretly spy on me, or my organization. But we have nothing to hide anymore. There are many things that shouldn't be made public, but I'm sure his judgment is sound.
Well then, I will once again entrust my friend's safety and the resolution of this case to you, in honor of the bond we are forming, Mitsuru Kirijo.
I promise that I will not let you down.
I smile back at him, and move on without looking back. I know that there is someone up ahead I must atone for. There is no hesitation in my steps. I reach the 3rd floor. After turning a corner and going for a while, it finally comes into view. The announcement room. This is where Reese Kujikawa is supposed to be.
Are you Kirijo-san? Kirijo?
As I open the door, 2 students greet me. One of them is the voice I heard from my persona, Kujikawa, I presume. The other is a girl I didn't see on the video.
Hang tight, Miss President. We'll be okay now that help's arrived. Kirijo-san, this girl got dragged into this mess too. We have to help her before that general comes back.
So you're Kujikawa. Sorry, but I'll need you to step back.
Huh?
I turn to face Miss President.
We meet at last. Astounding. You really do look human. But you're not, are you, Labyrinth?
The girl jumps at hearing this. Kujikawa still looks unsure, but I can't drag her into this. I place myself between her and Labyrinth.
Huh? What do you mean she's not human? Isn't she a victim who got dropped inside the TV?
Labyrinth being a victim is one way to see it. But if I have her learned the star is accurate, then the one who set up this Grand Prix is most likely...
Labyrinth. Our records show that you were loaded with special equipment. Undoubtedly a function that affects thoughts and scrambles recognition. That's why we saw and heard illusions whenever we fought. It would also explain General Teddy's appearance, and those who met you believing you to be human.
Special equipment? Labyrinth? What are you talking about?
Labyrinth's protestations of ignorance sounds as if she's in denial about something she already knows. It's tragic, hearing the desperation in her voice.
I'm sure the reason why you captured 2 people with analytical personas wasn't just to keep them from interfering with your designs. I came to a realization when I noticed I was the only one who sensed that noise. An analytical persona's searches clash with your ability. They dispel illusions, so you needed to confine them. You feared that if they caught you off guard and used their persona's ability, this would happen.
With that, I summon my persona, Artemisia. Just as expected, noise immediately runs across Labyrinth's body. It's exactly the sensation I felt before each round in the tournament. Artemisia cancels out the force scrambling our senses, and the illusion begins to wear off. Little by little, the facade fades away, and her true appearance emerges.
No! What's going on? This can't be.
What was your motive, Labyrinth? Was it revenge in the end? I can understand why you'd hold a grudge. I caught glimpses of it on my way here. But your hatred should be centered on the Kirijo group. Why drag innocent students into your vendetta?
Kirijo group? No. I don't want to remember. Never again.
Miss President, Kirijo-san! She seems to be in a lot of pain. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but you can't push her any further.
At that moment, Labyrinth grabs the equipment on her back that I had mistaken for wings. I suddenly separates and transforms into a giant battle axe that's larger than she is.
Miss President?
Get back! Hurry!
Labyrinth approaches me one step at a time, her axe at the ready. Her steps are halting, but she's moving with battle clearly in mind.
The injunction against harming humans has been removed? I see. No wonder she was sealed away.
Behind me, I hear Kujikawa pleading.
Is there no other choice but to fight?
I won't let you do any more damage, Labyrinth. It's me you want.
Shut up! Shut up!
Oh, are we actually going to have a fight against Labyrinth? Are we actually going to have a fight? I didn't see a mention of a persona there. So obviously that's not awakened. Well, that was a disappointment. I know I've not turned the difficulty down. This is on default difficulty. Labyrinth remains still. I can still hear her muttered denials. She didn't use a persona, but it's possible that her mental instability prevented her from doing so. It might have been a blessing in disguise. Labyrinth is the mastermind, not only at this tournament, but maybe the entire incident from the beginning. What if Labyrinth was never stolen, but instead escaped? Considering her powers, is it possible that she deluded the ordinary human hijackers? There's no knowing when Labyrinth regained her consciousness inside her cage. What if she hadn't awakened on opening it? What if she was already conscious inside there? She'd been sealed for roughly 13 years. More than enough time to formulate a plan. Kurosawa calls out from behind me. Just as she does so, I feel imminent threat pushing towards my back. I turn around in surprise. It can't be. General Teddy gives me an irritable smirk. An extremely powerful version of the noise, far worse than before, is everywhere around us. Kurosawa squats down while covering both her ears. It's all I can do to keep from falling on my own knees. And here comes the change. So I do love the animation they're giving us. It's cool. Very retro, but in the best way possible. The noise list once the mimicry is dispelled, but what it reveals is something I hadn't expected. Yep, and there's the to be continued, as I was expecting. And as you can see, we're now at 58% completion, and there's one more immediate story available, which makes me wonder how this is all going to go. But we've seen the Emperor and we've seen the Empress, and that is a perfect place for us to put the bookmark on this particular part of the game and carry on in the future. But I'm going to be back on Monday evening, not on Sunday. It's going to be on Monday evening when we're going back to Dunwall for some more of the Knife of Dunwall DLC in Dishonored. So, until then, it'll be 8 PM BST on Monday evening that I'll be back. But until then, thank you all very, very much for watching. And good night.